Chapter 2263. The Zhao family's patriarch spoke, and those few elders hurriedly recounted what had happened earlier. When these people heard that Lin Xian had killed 2 mighty figures and 3 6-star kings with a single strike, they were all stunned. Clang! 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 The wine glasses in their hands all fell to the ground. Heavens! They weren't dreaming, were they? How could the other party be so powerful? These elders did not dare to believe it. Zhao Ziruo's beautiful eyes were also shocked, and the corners of her mouth twitched. She knew that she had misjudged this time. Although she did not know the young man in front of her, he was definitely at the level of a saint. Thinking of this, she smiled bitterly. Originally, she still looked down on the other party, but she did not expect that she was too ignorant. Everyone was shocked. Only Morong Qingqing had a smile on her face, because she had already guessed this result. Lin Xian also smiled as he raised his wine glass. He smiled and said that the wine was still warm, so he could drink it. Lin Xian was tasting the wine, but the others were not in the mood. Now everything they ate tasted tasteless because the news was too shocking. It was as if lightning had struck them unconscious. On the other side, the Qiyu family. The entire Qiyu family quickly moved. They invited the best doctors and alchemists to treat Qiyuke's injuries. Although Qiyuke's life was saved, his crippled cultivation could not be recovered in a short time. More importantly, his genitals couldn't be repaired either. This news made the patriarch of the Qiyu family extremely gloomy. With his cultivation crippled and his manhood destroyed, it could be said that Qiyuke's life was over. Although he was not killed, it was worse than death. When Qiyuke learned of this result, he naturally could not accept it. He screamed crazily, "Kill him! You must kill him! You must kill him! Avenge me! Don't worry, Kuer, we will definitely avenge you." A middle-aged woman held Qiyuke's hand and said with gritted teeth, "I will capture that kid and pull out his tendons and bones. I will let him taste torture 10 times more painful than you. And that woman, I will also capture her and make her serve you for the rest of her life. Don't worry, I won't let anyone who offended you have a good ending." The middle-aged woman's expression was incomparably ferocious. The Red Moon family head's expression was also ice-cold. He said in a cold voice, "What's wrong? The people I sent out haven't returned yet? Why would it take so much effort to catch a brat? Or was it that the Zhao family refused to let him go? Master, something bad has happened." At this moment, news came from afar. A martial artist ran over in a panic. His face was extremely pale. "What's going on?" The clan leader of the Qiyu clan asked coldly. Could it be that they had captured that brat? "No," the subordinate said, trembling. "Our men were killed." "Was he killed?" Hearing this, all the martial artists in the room were stunned. What kind of joke was this? Those were 2 supreme beings and 4 6-star king tiers. How could he have been killed? The Red Moon family head's face darkened as he gritted his teeth. Damn it, could it be that the Zhao family had made a move? In his opinion, only the Zhao family could deal with these powerhouses. We don't know, but according to the Zhao family, that kid did it himself. The Zhao family didn't participate at all. Did that kid do it? What kind of joke was this? Did he really think that we were idiots? The Red Moon family head snorted coldly. The others in the room also had looks of disbelief. That kid looked like he was in his 20s. How powerful could he be? Even if he was a 6-star king, it would be fine. However, they had sent out 2 supreme beings. How could that kid resist them? It must be the Zhao family. Damn it, they've gone too far. "Master, what should we do now?" the person beside him asked. It seemed that the Zhao family was determined to protect the other party. So what if they protect him? Do they think that the Red Moon family is easy to bully? I don't believe that the Zhao family really dares to start a war with us. The middle-aged woman gritted her teeth as she spoke. She was Red Moon Ke's mother, and the wife of the Red Moon family head. At this moment, when she learned that the mission had failed, she was so angry that her face was filled with madness. The Red Moon family head's face was also gloomy. He snorted coldly. How dare they protect the murderer? I will definitely not let this go. In this way, he sent more people over. At the same time, he contacted the other families and went together. Tell them that our Red Moon family is being asked for an explanation. I don't believe that the Zhao family dares to make a move on the other big families. Yes, so go and prepare now. His subordinates, the elders, also began to move. This time, the Red Moon family was really angry. Therefore, they sent out a powerful team again. This time, they sent 3 elite supreme beings, 5 supreme beings, and dozens of 6-star kings. There were also other kings. There were a total of more than 100 people, and they set off in a mighty manner. This lineup was absolutely terrifying. Not only that, they also contacted the other big families in the Qianshan domain. They were all on good terms with the Red Moon family. The other 3 big families also sent some people over. The 4 big families headed to Sky Star City together in a mighty manner. When they arrived, it was already the next morning. The sky had just brightened. The sun rose, and the people in the city gradually increased. However, at this moment, a dark cloud suddenly appeared above their heads. Then, a gust of wind whistled, and a terrifying aura descended from the sky. It was as if it was going to crush the entire city. The martial artists in the city raised their heads and looked up. Then they screamed, "What's going on? Could it be that someone is going to attack the city? Is it a demonic beast? Or something else?" They were terrified because they realized that it was not a dark cloud above their heads, but a dense shadow. Each of them emitted a cold and terrifying aura, as if they were going to break the world. It was not a demonic beast, but a human. Countless people. Countless powerhouses. Many people exclaimed, and even more people were shocked. Damn it, are they going to attack my Sky Star City? Stop fooling around, this is the Ninely dynasty. All the lands in the world belong to the king. Who dares to attack a city? Damn it, who is this? What are they trying to do? Everyone went crazy. More and more people looked at the sky and discussed animatedly. Even the people of the city lord's mansion were alarmed. Countless guards formed a formation, as if they were facing a great enemy. He moved quickly, holding his sword and saber, and raised it to the sky. There was even a middle-aged man in armor who shouted coldly, "Stop, who are you?" In the sky, countless figures flashed, but they did not descend. This made the warriors and guards in the city heave a sigh of relief. However, at this moment a cold figure stood out. It was an old man dressed in black. His entire body was emitting a black light. He looked down, his gaze piercing through the void, and said coldly, "We are from the Red Moon family. This time, we have joined forces with the 3 big families to ask the Zhao family for an explanation." The Zhao family? Ask for an explanation? What explanation? Chapter 2264. Since when did the Qiyu family go against the Zhao family? They did not know. And from the looks of it, the hatred was especially great. Humph. In the sky, the old man snorted coldly and said loudly. His voice was like thunder, clearly spreading to every corner of the city. "My young master Qiyu was crippled, and the culprit is now in the Zhao family. However, the Zhao family refused to let him go, and even mercilessly killed the people we sent out. Until now, they have not even given us an explanation. Since that is the case, my Qiyu family has no choice but to come personally and demand an explanation." In the end, his voice was like thunder, causing everyone's ears to go numb. What? The young master of the Qiyu family was crippled? Are you talking about what happened 2 days ago? Many people were discussing. Obviously, they had heard about the previous incident. After all, it happened in Stellar Sky City. However, they did not expect that the matter was not over yet. Instead, it became more and more intense. It was very likely that it would evolve into a duel between 2 large families. Although the Qiyu family's overall strength was not as good as the Zhao family, it was still a large family. However, the Crimson Moon clan was a big clan after all. This time, they had joined forces with the other 3 big clans. Even if the Zhao family was extremely powerful, it was impossible for them to remain indifferent. Moreover, from the current situation, no matter how one looked at it, the Zhao family was in the wrong. The scene here naturally alarmed the city lord's mansion. Immediately, the people of the city lord's mansion hurried to the Zhao family to inquire about the situation. The Zhao family also received the news. For a moment, countless Zhao family warriors looked up at the sky. Seeing the black mass of people in the distance, they frowned. What was the Qiyu family trying to do? They actually dared to join forces with the other three large families and come looking for them together? Did they think that the Zhao family was easy to bully? Don't be rash. The Qiyu family is the sixth prince's people. Unless it is absolutely necessary, it is best not to start a war with them. However, this does not mean that the Zhao family is afraid of them. Quickly send someone to explain clearly. The Zhao family's patriarch gave the order, and countless Zhao family warriors began to move. However, on the other side Lin Xian stood up. He said loudly, "I said that I will deal with the Qiyu family alone. It had nothing to do with the Zhao family. So you don't have to worry." As he spoke, his figure flashed, and he soared into the sky, flying into the distance. What? This kid wants to solve it himself? Seeing this scene, these people felt their scalps go numb. Although they had been shocked by Lin Xian's strength yesterday, the Qiyu clan was incomparably terrifying. They didn't just have almighties. There were elite almighties, pinnacle almighties, and even peerless almighties. If such a terrifying clan was angered, even if Lin Xian was a prodigy, no matter how strong he was, he would not be able to resist. Therefore, the patriarch of the Zhao family quickly sent people to follow them, in case something bad happened. A few elders hurriedly led the martial artists over. On the other side, after Zhao Zhiruo received the news, she did not delay any longer. She quickly went to find Morong Qingcheng. The two of them also flew over in a flash. In an instant, many young people from the Zhao family followed them. Buzz buzz buzz. In the sky above Tianxing City, the atmosphere was heavy. It was as if thousands of mountains were pressing down on them, making it difficult for the martial artists in the city to breathe. However, at this moment, a ray of light cut through the void and instantly cut through the heavy atmosphere. This made everyone heave a sigh of relief. Then they were all shocked. Who had come? Could it be that a peerless powerhouse had come? In the next moment they looked over. Then they were stunned, because they realized that the person who came out was actually a young man, a very unfamiliar young man. They did not know this person. Many people were discussing, and a small number of people even exclaimed, "It was him. He was the one who crippled the young master of the Qiyu clan." What? Are you saying that he's the murderer? Heavens, he still dares to come out? Everyone was extremely shocked. They did not know Lin Xian's true strength and identity. Therefore, in their opinion, a young man who dared to come out at this time was definitely crazy. Under normal circumstances, he would have secretly run away. Who are you? The martial artist of the Qiyu clan shouted coldly. Lin Xian looked at him and sneered. A bunch of idiots. I'm the person you're looking for. Why? You're not convinced? Then do it. You're courting death. Those people reacted, and were extremely angry. That kid was the murderer they were looking for? He didn't seem like much. Not only was he arrogant, but he was also an idiot. He actually dared to fight against their army alone. That made them feel that it was unreal. They even felt that there was some kind of trap. Sure enough, in the next moment, the sound of something tearing through the air came from afar again. Then countless people quickly rushed over. The first to appear were a few elders of the Zhao family. They stopped near Lin Xian, looked ahead and frowned. They looked as if they were facing a great enemy. Behind them, the martial artists of the Zhao family arrived one after another, and also stopped in the void. Zhao Zhiruo and Morong Qingcheng also came. They came to Lin Xian's side. In an instant, the martial artists of the Zhao family all released powerful auras to resist the other party. In the sky, two huge forces of energy collided and tore through the void. A shocking crack appeared like a black hole. It was so deep that it could not be seen. There was indeed a trap. Seeing so many powerhouses and elders of the Zhao family, the Red Moon family's faces darkened. Kid, do you think that we can't do anything to you just because you have the support of the Zhao family? Let me tell you, if you provoke the Red Moon family, no one in the world can save you. Humph. Is that so? Why don't you try? Zhao Zhiruo shouted. Although she was a woman, the aura on her body was incomparably fierce. Since when did the people of the Qiyi family dare to behave atrociously in front of the Zhao family? It seemed that the Red Moon family had become more and more presumptuous in the past 2 years, with the support of the sixth prince. Today, they would let them know the foundation and strength of the Zhao family. Seeing that the Zhao family wanted to stand up for them, The people of the Red Moon family frowned. However, the black-clothed old man only sneered at this. What? Just because the Zhao family is powerful, they want to be lawless and bully us? The Zhao family is powerful, but you can't be unjust. That's right. Capturing the murderer is a matter of course. Why is the Zhao family stopping us? Could it be that there's some shady business between you? The people of the three great families also stood up. They sneered. For a moment, these people had pushed the Zhao family to the forefront of the storm. Those people below, they also began to discuss. Damn it, how dare these people slander the Zhao family? After the elders of the Zhao family heard this, their faces became incomparably ugly. Lin Xian sneered. Alright, don't waste your energy. I did kill them. Your young master Qi Yu was crippled by me. The two mighty figures and 4 six-star kings yesterday were also killed by me. I did everything. It has nothing to do with the Zhao family. What? You killed them all? Chapter 2265. The people of the Red Moon clan were even more stunned. The martial artists below were discussing animatedly. This kid could actually kill 2 almighties and 4 six-star kings? Heavens, I'm not dreaming, am I? This is definitely fake. It can't be real. The people of the Red Moon clan also sneered. Kid, don't joke around. You think you can kill almighties? Who do you think you are? This was definitely done by the Zhao family. Isn't the Zhao family powerful? You dared to do it, but don't dare to admit it? Or are you trying to be a coward? The people of the Red Moon clan sneered. The people of the other 3 clans also agreed. This time, the combined strength of the 4 clans was still not inferior to the Zhao family. Hence, they were unscrupulous. The martial artists of the Zhao family were furious. Lin Xian's face also darkened. Why, are you suspecting me? Fine, I'll prove it to you. Speaking of this, he took a step forward and clenched his fist. A sword light lit up between heaven and earth. Clang! Poof! Then the sword light disappeared. On the opposite side, an almighty from the Red Moon clan screamed as he was split in half. Blood stained the void red. What? He was killed. Everyone screamed in disbelief. The people of the Red Moon clan were even crazier, especially those who were closer. Their faces were splashed with blood. They trembled, and their eyes were filled with horror. What was going on? They didn't have any time to react at all. And one of their almighties was killed. Damn it, what kind of technique was this? The people of the Red Moon clan were crazy, and the people of the other 3 clans were also terrified. The martial artists of Stellar Sky City below were completely stunned. Shock. This scene brought a huge shock to them. They were completely stunned. The Zhao family was also shocked. Fortunately, they had seen Lin Xian's technique yesterday, so they could still stay awake at this moment. Now believe what I said. Lin Xian's voice sounded between heaven and earth again. Everyone was stunned. What kind of strength was this to kill an almighty with a single sword? They didn't dare to imagine. When Lin Xian's voice sounded, these people even trembled. The whole world fell silent. Even the people from the Red Moon clan were scared silly. Lin Xian said coldly as he scanned the surroundings. I did cripple the young master of the Qi Yu clan, but that was because he deserved to die. He coveted my wife's beauty and wanted to take her for himself. He even relied on his status as the young master of the Qi Yu clan to bully others. They sent over a dozen kings to kill me. Let me ask you, if you were in such a situation, what would you do? What? So that was the reason. Below, when the martial artists in Stellar Sky City heard these words, they all started discussing. Many of them clenched their fists and gritted their teeth. Damn it, this Scarlet Crescent Drake was truly too detestable. That's right, he was the kind of person who used his power to bully others. He didn't expect to kick an iron plate this time. A person like him deserved to die. Not killing him was already a great favor. That's right. Looking at this kid's skills, he must be a peerless genius. How could such a person endure such humiliation? If I had such strength, I would have killed that young Master Qi Yu long ago. Not killing him is already giving him face. I didn't expect the Qi Yu clan to be so shameless. That's right, they inverted right and wrong, and even tried to confuse us. How despicable. Hurry up and get lost. Angry roars came one after another. The martial artists below were all enraged. They were originally ordinary people. Therefore, What they hated the most was this kind of bullying. And this time, young Master Chiyu's reputation was already in tatters. Naturally, everyone didn't have a good impression of him. Seeing this scene, the Zhao clan members heaved a sigh of relief. The Chiyu clan members opposite them had gloomy expressions. They were so angry that they wanted to vomit blood. Damn it! The victim's identity that they had created had been exposed in an instant. Not only that, their current situation was very bad. The cultivators of Stellar Sky City below were so enraged. If they attacked together, it would be very dangerous. Damn kid, you're courting death. The black-robed elder roared with a gloomy expression. The time from when the other party killed their almighty to when he said this was too short. So much so that they didn't even react. Now that they reacted, the matter was already irreversible. Lin Xian snorted coldly. I didn't say these words because I'm afraid of you. I just didn't want people to misunderstand the Zhao clan, and didn't want to drag the Zhao clan down. Now that the matter has been clarified, we can settle the matter between us. To be honest, in order to keep a low profile, I've already been very merciful. But you don't know what's good for you and dare to send an army to kill me? Since that's the case, you don't have to go back. Are you going to kill yourselves? Or do you want me to do it? At this point, Lin Xian's eyes emitted a cold light. As soon as this voice came out, the clamor below broke out again. Everyone's hearts were beating wildly. Domineering, too domineering. He dared to say such words when facing thousands of troops alone. One had to admit that Lin Xian's current figure was deeply imprinted in the minds of these people. The Zhao clan members were also stunned. Zhao Zeruo's eyes flickered as she looked at the figure, seemingly in a daze. Morong Qingcheng, on the other hand, stood there with a pair of beautiful eyes and a faint smile on the corner of her mouth. On the other hand, the people of the Chiyu clan were so angry that they vomited blood. The four great clans had joined forces to suppress him. How dare he be so arrogant? He's courting death. Stop talking nonsense with him, and quickly capture this kid. The people of the three great clans said coldly. They originally came to show off, but now, no matter how they looked at it, they felt so sullen. Naturally, they were embarrassed. Therefore, they asked the Chiyu clan to hurry up and attack. Humph! Go kill him. The three mighty figures snorted coldly, and 20 kings followed behind them. They turned into a torrent and quickly charged over. That's all. It's not enough. Lin Xian sneered, and his fingers quickly formed a seal. A hell's ice lotus flew out from his fingertip, spinning in the air, and quickly charging over. Boom 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 boom. In the next moment, the hell's ice lotus completely exploded, enveloping the three mighty figures. Between heaven and earth, terrifying black flames erupted, and the power of ice filled the sky. In an instant, countless screams sounded. Soon these people fell silent. When all the energy disappeared, everyone looked up at the sky and were all dumbfounded. The three almighties and 20 kings were instantly annihilated, leaving nothing behind. They were all killed. These people's voices trembled, and the people of the Chiyu clan went crazy. In fact, they were even trembling. The faces of the people of the three great clans were pale, without a trace of blood. Damn it, who is this person? At this moment, the people of the three great clans were in despair, because they realized that they had been tricked. Before they came, the people of the Chiyu clan had told them that they were only here to capture a young boy. Moreover, the main reason they joined forces this time was to intimidate the Zhao family. Chapter 2266. No matter how they looked at it, the other party did not look like a brat. He was a peerless demon king. Now the Zhao family had not even made a move. Just the other party alone had killed three mighty figures, and more than 20 kings with the raise of his hand. Such means could be said to be heaven-defying. They had never seen such a thing before. Therefore, these people felt a chill in their hearts, and their expressions were extremely ugly. After Lin Xian succeeded, he looked at the other party and sneered. Why, not making a move? Then it's my turn. Whoosh! In the next moment, he turned into a stream of light and quickly rushed forward and couldn't stand at all. Kill him with all your might. But it wasn't enough. The black-robed elder's pupils constricted slightly. He did not expect the other party to take the initiative to attack. How dare an elite almighty behave so atrociously in front of him? The people behind him attacked crazily. He also stretched out his palm. At the same time, endless aura revolved around his palm. and
One
majestic
after
energy
another,
surged out of his
began
body.
to appear in the
To be
sky.
honest, the
No matter
astral
how
palm was an
powerful the other
ultimate
party
technique
was,
used by
they
an
had
almighty
three
of the
elite
Chi
mighty
family
figures this time.
However,
As
at
long
this
as
moment,
the three of them
when
attacked
Lin
with all their
Xian used
might,
the great dragon
they could
sword
definitely
soul,
suppress
its
the other
power
party.
was hundreds of times more
The
terrifying.
black-robed elder
When he
took the
stretched
lead
out his
and
palm,
stretched out his palm.
heaven and earth were
Buzz.
completely
In
covered.
the sky,
Only the
a pitch
stars
black
could
palm
be seen
pressed down,
rotating one
and
after
the
another.
entire sky turned
It was
into
as
night.
if the real universe had
You're
descended
just a
into
firefly.
the human world.
How dare you
Heavens,
compete with the
what
sun
kind
and
of
moon?
technique was this?
Lin Xian sneered
Wasn't
and
the
punched
astral
out.
palm an ultimate
The terrifying
technique of the
fist
Chi
carried
family?
black flames
How
that
did this
filled
kid
the
know
sky
it?
and blasted
Many
out
people
fiercely.
exclaimed,
Boom.
The people of the
two
Chi family
collided,
went crazy,
and thunderous
Damn
sounds
it.
echoed in the sky
astral
as
palm was
terrifying
indeed their
energy
family's
erupted.
ultimate
An
technique,
extremely
and
powerful
many people
energy
had
swept
practiced
out
it
in all
before.
directions.
However,
Countless
they couldn't
cracks
hit the
appeared in the
opponent's
surrounding
terrifying
space
power at all.
as the terrifying
More
energy
importantly,
swept down.
how did the other
The
party
warriors
do it?
in Stellar Sky City
However,
trembled
they didn't have
when they
time
felt
to
the
think
impact
about it
of this
anymore.
energy.
Wretched
The weaker
cries
ones
rang out in the
directly
sky.
knelt on the ground.
Those spinning stars were
damn it.
releasing a terrifying
However, amidst
pressure
the
that
violent
enveloped
energy,
the
there was a
entire
crazy
world.
roar.
In the blink
The
of an
black-robed
eye,
elder
the
kept
bodies of
retreating,
many martial
stepping on the
artists were
void.
crushed into
His
a bloody
palm
mist by
directly
these
exploded,
stars,
and
blood
directly
dyed the
exploded.
void red.
Boom.
Then Lin Xian
Boom.
attacked again.
In an instant,
At
at
least
least
30
30
kings
kings
were killed.
Another elite
Moreover,
roared.
there were even
This
more
was a middle-aged
screams.
man.
This
He
time,
held a red
not only
longsword
the
in
Chi
his
family,
hand and quickly
but even the
charged
warriors
over.
of the other
Buzz.
three families
The
were
longsword
affected.
swept across.
Damn it, impossible.
And the red sword
How
light
could he be
swept
so
across
powerful?
the sky as if it
Countless
was divine
people
red.
screamed crazily.
Boom.
And
Lin
the faces
Xian's
of the
palm
elite
slammed
almighties
into the sword
became
chi that
extremely
filled the
ugly.
sky,
In an
causing
instant,
a resplendent
more than
light
half
to
of the
erupt.
people they
A
brought were
terrifying
dead.
voice tore through the
Moreover,
void.
it was still going
After
on.
the deafening
It
explosion,
wouldn't be long before
Lin
all of
Xian's
them were
palm
killed.
didn't change at all.
This made their hearts
It was
bleed
still
in
grabbing
disbelief.
forward in an
These were all the
overwhelming manner.
elites of their
On
families.
the other side,
They were the
the
hope of their
middle-aged man
family's
was sent
future.
flying while
But
vomiting
now they
blood.
were all killed.
You want to capture me with just
a
the
red
two of
star
you?
descended.
He really
Bringing with it
overestimated
endless
himself.
flames as it
Lin
flew
Xian
towards the
sneered as he
black-clothed
looked
old
ahead.
man.
Brat, don't be so
elder
arrogant.
roared crazily
At this
and slammed
moment,
his palms
another earth-shattering
continuously.
roar was heard.
Ghost claws
The
tore
purple
through the
light
void
shot
and
straight
attacked into the
fiercely.
clouds,
However,
drowning
it was
out
useless.
the entire world.
The red star
Then
was
a figure
like a sun,
appeared,
burning
this was a young
fiercely
man,
and directly
his eyes were
enveloping the
incomparably
black-robed
cold.
elder.
But
Then
no
it was
one dared
completely
to
refined.
underestimate him.
What?
This was
Even
not a
the
young
elite
man,
almighties were
but
killed.
an old monster
The death
that
of the
had lived for
black-robed
more than
elder
1,000 years.
had a huge impact
He was
on
an
them,
elite almighty
because he was an elite
and he was
lord.
the strongest
He was
among the
definitely
people
a
who came
peerless
this time.
powerhouse with
The purple-robed
unimaginable
ancestor
strength.
was actually
But
him.
now, he had been
Seeing this
killed like a blade
purple-clothed
of grass.
youth walk out,
Who was the
many
other
people
party?
exclaimed
They
in
didn't dare
surprise.
to think.
The elders
Therefore,
of the
in
Zhao
the next
family
moment,
also frowned.
those who were
because
still
the
alive
purple-robed
screamed
ancestor
crazily.
was indeed
Run,
not
run.
simple. His
At
strength
this
was
moment,
incomparably
revenge
terrifying,
and the mission of
Therefore,
their
for a
families
moment,
were all thrown
they
away.
were a little worried.
Saving their
They
lives
didn't know
was
if
the
Lin
most
Xian could
important thing.
withstand it.
However,
Indeed,
could they
the
escape?
purple-robed
The
ancestor
area
was
within a
very
radius
powerful.
of 10,000
He was
miles
even more
was completely
powerful than the
enveloped by
previous
Lin
two
Xian's
elite
astral
almighties.
palm.
His roar
Forming a
shattered the
heaven and
mountains
earth
and
cage.
rivers.
They couldn't
Boom.
escape at all.
A large purple
Therefore,
hand
the
reached out to
ordinary
grab
kings
him.
were all killed
Heaven and
very
earth
quickly.
instantly split
The
open,
almighties couldn't
and a
survive at
terrifying
all.
aura pressed
Now
down
only
below.
5 elite almighties were left. They were from the 4 great families, and 2 of them were from the Chi family. Chapter 2267. Now there were only 5 elite almighties left. They were from the 4 major families, and 2 of them were from the Red Moon family. The other 3 were from the 3 major families. At this moment, the 5 of them were gathered together, and their expressions were extremely ferocious. They were covered in blood, both their own and their subordinates. Damn it, the 5 of us should join forces and attack in the same direction. I don't believe that he can fight against the 5 of us. The purple-robed ancestor roared crazily. Although he had delicate features, his small face was ferocious like a demon at this moment. Purple extreme demonic art. The purple-robed patriarch used his most powerful technique as soon as he stepped forward. The other 4 elite almighties also used their best ultimate skills, not daring to hold back at all. Heavenly Rainbow Sword. The middle-aged man waved the long sword in his hand and released terrifying sword lights one after another. Sky Demon Fist. The demon roared. Immovable Mountain. Terrifying divine abilities burst forth, and the crazy energy between heaven and earth swept towards the starry sky. Lin Xian looked at this scene and sneered disdainfully. Now it was over. Destroying the stars. Boom boom boom. As his voice fell, the stars in the sky exploded in his palm. The entire universe turned into chaos. The space within a radius of 10,000 miles was completely torn apart, and an endless black hole appeared. As for the 5 almighties, they were completely drowned by this violent energy. Boom, Boom, boom. The violent energy between the heavens and the earth lasted for an incense stick's worth of time, before gradually dissipating. In Tianxing City, all the warriors were lying on the ground, their faces pale. When the energy dissipated, they stood up from the ground and looked at the sky in shock. In fact, they had already thought of this. With such violent energy, it was impossible for the five almighties to survive. However, they still had to verify their thoughts. Sure enough, when they looked up at the sky, the terrifying spatial cracks in the sky had already healed. However, the figures of the five almighties had already disappeared. Only clouds of blood mist were left in the sky, turning into a rain of blood that fell in Tianxing City. Looking at this scene, everyone was stunned, because at this moment, their feelings could not be described with words. The four major families, hundreds of kings, and so many elite almighties were all killed in an instant. This scene was like a legend, and they could not believe it. Lin Xian waved his sleeve and landed again, returning to Tianxing City. Countless people looked at Lin Xian with fear in their eyes. The young people of the Zhao family also felt their scalps tingle. The elders of the Zhao family became extremely respectful. Among them, the Grand Elder hurriedly walked over. Their attitude towards Lin Xian was completely different. Before, they were all respectful of Lin Xian, but that was because of Morong Qingsheng. However, things were different now. The strength that Lin Xian had displayed had definitely surpassed that of an elite mighty being. At the very least, he was at the pinnacle of the almighties. Such strength was incomparably terrifying and worthy of their respect. The group Morong Qingsheng and Lin Xian, also made their intentions clear. You want to know the reason? Almighties. Hearing this, the first elder narrowed his eyes. Zhao Zeruo's eyes also flickered. This beast tide is indeed a little strange, but I really don't know the exact reason. The Grand Elder shook his head. You don't know? Seeing this scene, Lin Xian and Morong Qingsheng were a little disappointed. They thought that with the status of the Zhao family, they should know something special. They did not expect that they did not know either. Then the Grand Elder left. Zhao Zhuo also left, but before she left she said, Junior sister Qingsheng, don't be anxious. I'll help you ask around. Sure enough, half a day later, Zhao Zhuo returned again. She said, My grandfather wants to see you. Your grandfather? Lin Xian and Morong Qingsheng looked at each other. Then Lin Xian asked, Is it a clue about the beast tide? You'll know when you get there. Zhao Zhuo smiled mysteriously. Then Lin Xian and Morong Qingsheng followed Zhao Zhuo and left the pavilion, walking towards the depths of the Zhao family. The entire Zhao family was very large, so they did not reach their destination after walking for half a day. However, Lin Xian realized that the surroundings had already changed. The Zhao family in front of him was dotted with palaces and pavilions, as if it was a palace. Behind them, there were very few sights. There were forests, mountains, waterfalls, and running water everywhere, as if it was a paradise. Not only that, he also realized that the spirit energy here far exceeded that of the outside world. Compared to the spirit energy outside the Zhao family, it was denser. There were even some spirit beasts around at any time. They were all cute and harmless. The little fur ball in Zhao Zeruo's arms was also whimpering. However, at this moment Little White also came out of the black earth and jumped onto Lin Xian's shoulder. It looked around with its big black eyes. Obviously, this little guy had smelled some spirit fruit. You have a little white ball too. Zhao Zhuo turned her head and exclaimed when she saw Little White on Lin Xian's shoulder. It looked similar to Snowball in her arms, except that one was a monkey and the other was a lion. Come here, I'll give you a spirit fruit to eat. Zhao Zhuo was very experienced in raising pets, so she flipped her palm, and a red fruit appeared in her hand. When Little White saw it, it flew over with a whoosh. It jumped onto Zhao Zeruo's shoulder, hugged the spirit fruit, and chewed happily. Zhao Zhuo looked at it and liked it very much. However, at this moment, she realized that something was wrong. That was because the little lion in his arms actually began to tremble slightly. Its black eyes looked at Little White with a trace of fear. What's going on? Zhao Zhuo was extremely surprised. The little lion in her arms had a very strong bloodline power. It was born as a one-star king. In the future, it might even become a peerless demon king. Therefore, she liked it very much. She even took care of it personally. But now, this little lion with the potential of a peerless demon king was actually trembling. It was afraid of this monkey. Thinking of this, Zhao Zhirua gasped. What kind of background does this monkey have? Could it be even more terrifying than the little lion in my arms? She didn't know, but her beautiful eyes were fixed on the little white monkey. Little White hugged the spirit fruit, glanced at the little lion, and then made a face. Then with a swoosh, it returned to Lin Xian's side. So fast. Zhao Zhirua was surprised that she could not catch the other party's trajectory. A mutant of heaven and earth. This was definitely a very terrifying mutant of heaven and earth. She did not expect that not only was Lin Xian powerful, but he also had such a terrifying pet. A little guy, long time no see. At the side, Morong Qingqing was also happy. She picked up Little White from Lin Xian's shoulder, hugged it in her arms, and kept rubbing it. Awoo awoo. The little white monkey looked like it was enjoying itself. Morong Qingqing was happy to see it. She followed Zhao Zhirua and hugged Little White in her arms. The three of them chatted and laughed as they walked for a while. Buzz! Chapter 2268. Suddenly, two silhouettes flickered and appeared. They were wearing bronze masks and carrying two sharp swords on their backs. Their expressions were extremely cold. Their eyes, in particular, were emotionless. Zhao Zhirua stopped in her tracks as soon as the two figures appeared. Behind her, Lin Xian and Morong Qingqing also looked solemn. They could sense that the two people in front of them were definitely experts. Seniors, I'm here on my grandfather's orders. These two are my friends. My grandfather wants to see them. This is a token. Zhao Zhirua took out her family's token as she spoke. In front of her, one of the masked men took the token and looked at it carefully. Then, he nodded and returned the token to Zhao Zhirua. Then, the two figures flashed and disappeared into the void. Whoosh! The leaves on both sides rustled and birds chirped. It was very ethereal. It was as if the appearance of the two masked men was a dream. Let's go. My grandfather is right in front. However, the two of you have to follow me closely. Follow my footsteps. Don't make a single mistake. There's a formation inside. If you take the wrong step, it'll be very dangerous. Okay. Morong Qingqing smiled. Lin Xian also nodded. Then he looked around. Indeed, with his knowledge of formations, he discovered that there was an extremely terrifying formation in front of him. Although there was no light, it was extremely dangerous. There was only one way out. Next, Zhao Zhirua led the way. She did not walk in a straight line, but in all kinds of curves. Sometimes she even went backwards. However, Lin Xian and Morong Qingqing knew that they were walking on the only way out of the formation. If they did not follow this path, they would immediately activate the terrifying killing formation under their feet. It took them an hour to walk through the formation. Finally, Zhao Zhirua heaved a sigh of relief. Alright, there's no danger ahead. Let's speed up. In front of them was no longer a forest but a grassland. There was even the sound of flowing water in the distance, because there was a waterfall in the distance. On the opposite side of the waterfall was a huge lake that was embedded in the ground like an emerald gem. Beside the lake there was a figure. However, soon Lin Xian and Morong Qingqing were stunned. That was because they thought they would meet an old man with the demeanor of an immortal. However, the scene in front of them was completely out of their expectations. The figure in front of them was indeed an old man. However, he was dressed casually. He wore cotton clothes and a bamboo hat on his head. At this moment, he was holding a hoe and waving it in front of him. Moreover, it wasn't some terrifying divine ability. It was very ordinary, just like a farmer plowing the land. His trousers were rolled up, and the sweat on his face kept dripping to the ground. If it had not been Zhao Zhirua who had brought them here, if it had not been for the terrifying guards and the terrifying killing array, then they simply didn't believe that the old man in front of them was the old master of the Zhao family. That was because he was too ordinary. Such people could be seen everywhere in the countries of ordinary people. However, Zhao Zhirua was not surprised. With a smile on her face, she ran over. Grandpa, I've invited him. Zhao Zhirua said softly. The old man stopped waving his hoe, stood up, and wiped his sweat. Then, He turned his head to look at Lin Xian and Morong Qingqing. Please wait for a moment. I still have a little more to finish. We're not in a hurry, old master. Lin Xian and Morong Qingqing also walked up and watched from the side. Morong Qingqing blinked curiously. Lin Xian glanced at it and was extremely surprised. That was immortal grain rice. Lin Xian was too surprised. That was a type of rice, which was also an ordinary food. The rice in front of them was not ordinary. It was known as an ancient variant. That was because it contained pure spiritual energy when it was planted. It could be said that it was the same as spirit herbs and spirit fruits. However, it was much more effective than ordinary spirit fruits. Moreover, it could be eaten as a meal. If one ate it from a young age, the foundation and physique would be unimaginable. He did not expect the old man of the Zhao family to be planting such a thing. Hearing Lin Xian's words, old Master Zhao raised his head again with a hint of surprise in his eyes. You know about this? He had read about it in books before, but this was the first time he had seen it with his own eyes. Can you give me a few stalks, old master? Lin Xian asked. Old Master Zhao laughed when he heard that. All right, it's fate that we meet. I'll give you a few stalks. Lin Xian picked 10 stalks, then waved his hand and kept them. He cupped his fists and smiled, thanking the old man for his help. Next, old Master Zhao continued to work on the unfinished ones. Lin Xian and Morong Qingqing watched from the side. Gradually, the two of them became serious again. That was because they realized that old Master Zhao's every action was very ordinary, but there was an inexplicable charm to it. Returning to simplicity, the two of them were shocked. Old Master Zhao was definitely a terrifying expert, because there were very few people who could do that. After some time, old Master Zhao was finally done with his work. He put the hoe in his hand aside, took off the bamboo hat on his head, and said with a smile, "Please take a seat." The few of them sat by the old lake. At that moment, the surface of the lake was sparkling. A gentle breeze blew, and it was very cool. I've heard from Zhirua why you're here. The beast tide had started a year and a half ago. It had been intermittent, and it would come once every few months. However, there hasn't been a large-scale beast horde in Qianshan region yet. However, this matter has attracted the attention of all parties. We've investigated it. However, due to the lack of clues, we didn't find anything. However, after our analysis, this beast horde is indeed not ordinary. Moreover, the target of this beast horde is very obvious. They're all heading for the main cities. Among them, 4 main cities, including Wanrun City, were attacked by the beast horde. The Ninli dynasty also attached great importance to this matter, and sent a large number of experts to help suppress the beast horde. They even caught a few peerless monster kings, and wanted to search their souls. They found useful information. Unfortunately, after those peerless monster kings were caught, they immediately self-destructed, and even sacrificed a few peerless mighty figures. It's very crazy. Therefore, we can't get any useful information at all. However, if you really want to know something, you can go to Qianshan City. That's also a main city. Maybe you can find some information there. Lin Xian and Morong Qingqing's eyes flickered when they heard that. They didn't expect it to be like this. Although they didn't get any exact information, they were sure that someone was secretly manipulating it. The self-destruction of the peerless monster kings was obviously to hide the information. It seems that the monster clans are making a big move recently. Moreover, they're attacking main cities. Their purpose is very obvious. Since they didn't get any information, Lin Xian and Morong Qingqing didn't stay any longer. They stood up. Sorry to disturb you, old master. Then, Zhao Zhirua left again with Morong Qingqing and Lin Xian. Chapter 2269. At this moment, although he was still wearing plain clothes, he was definitely not ordinary. The aura on his body was like a peerless divine sword, revealing its sharpness. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. In front of him, ripples suddenly appeared on the huge lake, rippling out in circles. Following that, countless water pillars rushed up, and a huge monster slowly appeared under the water. Whoosh! Water splashed all over the sky, and under the sunlight, it shone with a crystal-clear light. A black shadow that was like a small mountain appeared in front of old Master Zhao. It was a turtle, a black turtle. Its body was as big as a small black mountain. Its head was incomparably ferocious, and it was as big as a house. On its back was a black turtle shell with mysterious patterns on it. Old man, you're dishonest. How dare you leak our information? The black turtle spoke in human language, and there was a hint of fierceness in its eyes. Humph. Old Master Zhao snorted coldly, but he was not afraid. A sharp light flickered in his eyes, and his cold voice sounded. Leak information? What did I leak? From the beginning to the end, I didn't say anything, right? Cunning human. The black turtle slowly bent down, and its huge head came in front of old Master Zhao. The coldness in its eyes was like 10,000-year-old ice. Then what about now? Have you thought it through? No. This is an important matter, and I need to think it through carefully. If there's nothing, don't come out. Old Master Zhao said coldly with his hands behind his back. In front, the black turtle heard this and snorted coldly. However, its huge body slowly descended and disappeared into the water. Whoosh! Countless waves rolled, but with the disappearance of the black turtle, the entire lake returned to calm. It was as if nothing had happened. Old Master, something bad has happened. In the Qiyu family, a figure hurriedly sent a report. What happened? He was flustered. The warriors of the Qiyu family were very confused. The patriarch of the Qiyu family also frowned. This time, he had sent a large number of experts, and he had joined forces with the other three families. It could be said that it was foolproof. Even if the Zhao family made a move, they would be able to resist. Therefore, during this period, he had been patiently waiting for news. At that moment, he frowned when he saw how flustered his subordinates were. What have I always taught you? You have to be calm in the face of trouble. No matter what, my Scarlet Moon clan is still a big clan. Don't you know the rules of the clan? Hearing this, the subordinate broke out in cold sweat. Yes, Patriarch, I know I was wrong. The Red Moon Patriarch nodded slightly, then took a sip of spirit tea, and asked indifferently. What happened? Did you catch that brat? All he had to do was push him back. No, that's not it. The people we sent were all annihilated. The 4 great clans were all annihilated. Clang! Hearing this, the Scarlet Moon Patriarch's body stiffened, and the smile on his face froze. The spirit tea in his hand fell to the ground and shattered into pieces. The surrounding people were also stunned. After a long time, they finally regained their senses. The Qiyu clan member stood up and said coldly, Damn it, what did you say? Say it again. This voice was like thunder, piercing through the void. The entire house even exploded, and a terrifying black hole appeared in the sky. The subordinate trembled in fear, and directly knelt on the ground. Patriarch, all our martial artists were annihilated. None of them came back alive. How is that possible? When the surrounding people of the Scarlet Moon clan heard this, they were all stunned, and could not believe it. The Scarlet Moon Patriarch's face was also ugly. To be honest, he would not believe it even if he was beaten to death. This time, he had sent nearly 100 martial artists. Moreover, he had joined forces with the other 3 great clans. With such a lineup, the Zhao family would not be able to annihilate them. Damn it, who was the one who did it? Could it be that there was a terrifying force behind that brat? It was not anyone else, nor was it the Zhao family. It was that brat who did it himself. He did it himself. Hearing this, everyone almost bit off their tongues. What a joke. A brat annihilated hundreds of kings with a raise of his hand? Damn it, do you think I'm an idiot? The Scarlet Moon Patriarch was furious. He slapped his subordinate to the ground, causing the subordinate to vomit blood and lie on the ground. He struggled to say, Patriarch, it's true. Everyone in Stellar Sky City saw it. When these words came out, everyone was dumbfounded. Everyone in the city saw it. There was no way it could be fake. However, they still could not believe it. Could it be that the brat was a peerless mighty figure? A peerless mighty figure in his 20s. Heavens, who exactly was that person? They did not dare to imagine. At that moment, an old man next to him frowned. He's so young and so mysterious. That brat is very suspicious. Third elder, what are you trying to say? The Scarlet Moon Patriarch asked. Patriarch, have you forgotten? There was news from the prince's residence that a young demon king came from the Tai dynasty. He's the one who's wanted by the Tai dynasty. It's been confirmed that he's in the Ninely dynasty. Do you think it's that brat? Is there a portrait of him? The Scarlet Moon Patriarch took a deep breath. With this reminder, he really did remember. Not long ago, the Tai dynasty had joined forces with the Ninely dynasty and released a notice nationwide. The Scarlet Moon Patriarch naturally received the notice. However, they did not take it to heart at all, and they did not intend to interfere. After all, it was rumored that he was a very terrifying person. He was able to escape from the Tai dynasty alone. One could imagine how terrifying he was. But now, the third elder's words made him suspicious. It might be that brat in front of him. Yes. The third elder raised his hand and cast a light screen. Then a figure appeared in the void. That was the wanted person. In the sky, there was a three-dimensional image of a handsome young man. He didn't look very old, probably in his 20s. Is that the person? The Scarlet Moon Patriarch asked coldly. The subordinate who was beaten to the ground raised his head and looked at the void. Then he trembled. That's right. It's him. What? It's really him. Hearing this, everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. Those elders were extremely shocked. The Scarlet Moon Patriarch's pupils constricted. They did not expect that they had provoked such a terrifying demon king. But soon, a sinister smile appeared on his face. So what if that brat is strong? This time, the Tai dynasty had sent a large number of peerless powerhouses to hunt that brat down. Moreover, it was said that those who reported the news would be rewarded handsomely. It seems that we don't have to do anything to kill that brat. That's right. The surrounding elders all sneered malevolently. No matter how strong a person was, it was impossible for him to go against an entire dynasty. In their opinion, that brat would definitely die. Men, quickly send a message to the sixth prince. Tell him that we've found the murderer. Chapter 2270. Yes. A few subordinates hurried to do it. However, at this moment, the Chiyu clan spoke again. Men, send someone to follow that kid. Don't show yourself. Just follow him secretly. Don't let that kid escape. Looking at the departing figures of his subordinates, the Chiyu clan's leader smirked. This is what you get for going against my Chiyu clan. And that Zhao family, let's see how you deal with them this time. Ninely Dynasty, White Cloud City. In the city there was a manor that was extremely quiet. However, on this day, a few martial artists in battle armor descended from the sky. Their expressions were solemn as they walked over quickly. General, there's news. The three martial artists knelt on one knee, looking excited. In front of them, a valiant middle-aged man sat on a huge rock. When he heard the voice, he opened his eyes. His gaze was sharp like a blade. It was General Xianying. Have you found that kid's whereabouts? General Xianying asked. Found him. He's in Skystar City in Qianshan region. Is the news reliable? Yes, it's from the Chiyu clan in Qianshan region. It's said that the kid had a conflict with the Chiyu clan, and even crippled their young master. The Chiyu clan sent out hundreds of kings, but they were all killed by the kid. Only then did they discover the kid's identity. Very good. General Xianying sneered. Since that's the case, let's do it. Send our men over and suppress the kid. Also inform the people from Hell to take action. Hell might have already succeeded by the time we arrive. Yes, I'll do it now. Three figures soared into the sky, and General Xianying stood up as well. Kid, you won't be able to escape from me. Skystar City Zhao family. Since they couldn't get any news here, Lin Xian and Morong Qingqing decided to go to Qianshan City to take a look. However, Zhao Zhirua hoped that they could play here for 2 days, or at least tour Skystar City. Lin Xian and Morong Qingqing felt that a day or two wouldn't take too much time, so they agreed. On this day, the three of them went out of the Zhao family together. Young Master Lin, Junior Sister Morong, our Skystar City is still very fun. The snacks here are delicious. Let me take you to have a taste. Stellar Sky City was huge, and was divided into many regions. If Lin Xian and Morong Qingqing were left alone, they might not be able to find it. However, Zhao Zhirua was familiar with the road and soon arrived. The streets ahead were bustling with noise and excitement. There were many martial artists in front of them. Moreover, All of them looked very excited and happy. Whoosh! The 3 snow lions stopped and Lin Xian, Morong Qingqing and Zhao Zhihua walked down from the carriage. Looking at the sea of people in front of her, Morong Qingqing exclaimed. There were so many people. That was natural because the food here was delicious. Look, there are quite a few kings, and even almighties among these martial artists. They were all regulars here. Let's go. Zhao Zhihua led the way while Lin Xian and Morong Qingqing followed behind. They looked at the food on both sides and swallowed their saliva. To be honest, one of them had been cultivating in the sacred ground, while the other had been fighting non-stop. It could be said that they rarely had the time to visit the city, not to mention eating delicious food. Basically, apart from medicinal pills, Lin Xian only ate spirit fruits. Damn, it smells so good. I can smell it. The dark red dragon came out of the black earth and looked around while drooling. The little white monkey was also mumbling. He looked at the spirit fruit in his hand and threw it away. He looked around curiously with his big eyes. Damn, I want to eat this. The dark red dragon stared at a golden bird and couldn't move. That bird was as big as a house and was completely golden. It was currently being roasted on a huge fire rack. From afar, one could smell the fragrance of roasted meat. You guys have good taste. This is a 6-star king golden sparrow. Its meat is very fresh and contains powerful energy. Do you guys want to have a taste? A 6-star demon king. Hearing this, Lin Xian and Morong Qingqing were also surprised. They didn't expect the food here to have such extraordinary origins. I want it. The dark red dragon didn't say anything and directly tore off a piece of golden roasted meat. Damn, it smells so good. Soon, the dark red dragon let out a hearty laugh. The little white monkey was also very curious and tore off a piece to eat. Its big eyes narrowed into crescents. Okay, I want it. Lin Xian directly bought the entire golden sparrow. This scene shocked the surrounding people. One had to know that this was a 6-star demon king. It was definitely expensive. Most people would only buy a small piece. Those who bought the entire golden sparrow were definitely rich. And they were rich to an unimaginable extent. This 6-star demon king was indeed expensive, but Lin Xian didn't care about such a small amount of money. I want to eat this. Morong Qingqing looked at the shop on the other side with her beautiful eyes shining. The group of people walked over. The dark red dragon directly lifted the house-sized golden roasted meat with its 2 dragon claws and ate it as it walked. The little white monkey directly lay on the roasted meat. Although it usually loved to eat spirit fruits, it couldn't resist the fragrance of the roasted meat. The shop in front was also doing very well. Looking at the layer of white jelly-like things, Lin Xian, Morong Qingqing, and the others were curious. Shop owner, give us an introduction. Zhao Zhihua smiled. A middle-aged woman walked out. She looked at them and knew that they were of noble status, so she carefully introduced them. This is called Golden Wind and Jade Dew. It is made by mixing 13 types of spirit herbs and adding earth spirit liquid. There are a total of 3 types in this shop. There are 100-year-old, 500-year-old, and 1,000-year-old. The age naturally refers to the age when the 13 types of spirit herbs were grown, and the prices are from low to high. Especially the 1,000-year-old ones, they were shocking. Ordinary people couldn't afford it. After all, 13 types of 1,000-year-old spirit herbs were absolutely priceless. Lin Xian waved his hand and ordered 5 bowls of 1,000-year-old spirit herbs. As soon as he said that, the surrounding people exclaimed, "He's a tycoon, a real tycoon. He doesn't even bother to bargain when buying things." One had to know that people like them only wanted a 100-year-old spirit herb at most. Even the mighty ones would only buy a 500-year-old spirit herb. These people are ordering 5 bowls of 1,000-year-old spirit herbs. Even the mighty ones wouldn't dare to spend like that. However, the wealth in Lin Xian's hands was far beyond their imagination. Buying 5 bowls was not a problem at all. Soon, each person had a bowl, and they ate with relish. Just like that, they ate as they walked. The surrounding people were amazed. However, they also knew that the identities of the people in front of them were not ordinary. Zhao Zhihua was the daughter of the Zhao family, and they knew this young man. Not long ago, he killed the powerhouses of the 4 major families with a slap. He was definitely a peerless genius. It was not surprising that such a person would have such wealth. Chapter 2271. Lin Xian and the others ate and drank crazily along the way. However, at that moment they stopped in their tracks. A hint of doubt appeared in their eyes. That was because many people had gathered in front of them, and there seemed to be some noise coming from them. Among them, a sharp voice pierced through the void. "Damn it! How dare you curse me? I'll tear your mouth apart." What happened? They were curious and decided to go and take a look. Thus they walked over. Soon, they discovered that there was an argument in front of them. One of the parties was an old man in a green robe, who had the demeanor of a transcendent being. The other party was a sturdy middle-aged woman, who was dressed very luxuriously. Moreover, the clothes she wore were even more dazzling. Just by looking at the necklace and ring, one could tell that they were extraordinary treasures. Obviously, she was a rich and powerful person. At that moment, the middle-aged woman, who was as strong as a bear, had her hands on her hips. Her eyes were filled with ferocity as she stared at the transcendent old man in front of her. "You're courting death, you bastard. How dare you say that I can't find a cultivation partner? Are you blind? I'm as beautiful as a fairy. How can I not find a cultivation partner? Damned liar. How dare you say that you can predict the world? Hurry up and return the money." The woman's voice was filled with endless power, causing the people around her to tremble. Obviously, she was an expert. On the other side, the transcendent old man looked helpless. He was holding a yellowed canvas in his hand. There were a few words written on it. "Immortal guides the way." He shook his head and sighed. "The heavenly secrets have already been revealed to you. How can I ask you to return the money? No. I'm risking the heavenly tribulation to reveal the secret to you. I have to collect some compensation." "Old man, you refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. Then don't blame me for being rude." The middle-aged woman snorted coldly. She reached out her hand and grabbed in front of her, as if she wanted to grab the transcendent old man. Whoosh! Whoosh! However, she missed. The old man's body disappeared on the spot. When he reappeared, he was already on the other side. However, he was obviously very displeased. The old man shook his head and sighed. All right, I'll take it that I'm unlucky. I don't want to fight you, so I'll return the payment to you. Don't ask me for help if anything happens in the future." As he spoke, he waved his sleeve and threw a supreme-grade substandard divine crystal. "Humph! Liar! Don't let me see you. Otherwise I'll show you." The middle-aged woman grabbed the top-grade substandard divine crystal on the ground and left in a huff. When the surrounding people saw this scene, they wanted to laugh, but they didn't dare to. However, after the middle-aged woman to Lin's, was there even a need to calculate? She was clearly a tigress. Who would dare to dual cultivate with such a person? How's to? Sa of the of courses, Savoiphosostos be to this old man, even claimed to be an immortal guiding the way. Why do I feel like he's a fraud? Initially, Lousy was fine with it, but when he heard the word liar, he was so angry that his beard straightened. He snorted coldly. What do you people know? This old man has wandered the 4 seas, and his immortal tracks are untraceable. It wasn't easy for me to reach Stellar Sky City. Lin to have to be the Lins to of the of course be of me of a to be of course. Hee. The people of the heavenly tribulation shook their heads in disbelief. They felt that he was an old liar. Therefore many of them walked away. Let's go too, Zhao Zhirua said. She was not interested in such things. Lin Xian, Morong Qingqing, and the others also turned to leave. However, at this moment, the sage-like old man in front of them shifted his gaze. His eyes lit up when he saw Zhao Zhirua. This was because the other party's attire was extremely extraordinary. With a single glance, one could tell that he was very wealthy. Therefore, he hurriedly said, "Everyone please listen to me." However, no one stopped. Lin Xian and the others did not stop either. It seemed that no one wanted to bother with this old liar. When the old man saw this, he pinched his fingers. With a flash of light, he appeared in front of Lin Xian and the others. "You're in a hurry. Can you listen to me?" Seeing this, Lin Xian and the others stopped in their tracks. This old man is quite fast. However, Zhao Zhirua obviously did not believe him. She said coldly, "We don't need any fortune-telling. Just leave." Morong Qingqing did not believe her either. Lin Xian shrugged, and the few of them prepared to leave. However, at this moment the old man said, "Let me calculate. When you were 9 years old, something happened that changed your fate. When you were 13 years old, something happened that changed your fate again. 2 changes in your fate made you soar and achieve what you have today." Buzz. Hearing this, Zhao Zhirua stopped in her tracks. She turned her head, and a sharp light flashed in her eyes. Countless runes flickered on her body. Her voice also became sharp. "Who are you? How do you know about me?" She seemed to be filled with shock. It seems that the old man was right. Lin Xian and Morong Qingqing were also surprised. Could it be that the old man really knows how to read fortunes? "Of course. I did it. How about it? Do you believe me now?" Hearing this, Zhao Ziruo's eyes flickered. Morong Qingqing was also surprised. Seeing this scene, the old man thought that they believed him. So he took a step forward and said in a low voice, "I don't want to hide it from you. I can see that your complexions are extraordinary, but your glabella is dark. There seems to be a bloody disaster in the near future." Pfft. Hearing this, the dark red dragon directly spat out the monster king meat in its mouth. It bared its teeth and said, "Old man, it seems that I deserve to hit you. You're too good at deceiving people. How dare you curse me?" The dark red dragon was so angry that it stomped its feet. Little White was also unhappy. In addition, Zhao Ziruo's face darkened. Lin Xian and Morong Qingqing's mouths twitched. They originally thought that this person was some kind of expert. However, they did not expect that the second sentence revealed his true nature. "He's obviously deceiving us. Old man, don't talk nonsense." Zhao Zhirua shouted coldly. The dark red dragon at the side also sneered. "Old man, how dare you cheat me of my money? You're courting death. Do you know who this girl is? She's a member of the Zhao family. The Zhao family is the overlord of this place. How dare you say that she's going to face a bloody disaster? Aren't you afraid that countless mighty figures will hunt you down?" Hearing this, the old man shrunk his neck and muttered in his heart, "Damn. Her identity is so precious. Could it be that I'm going to play big this time?" However, his eyes flickered. In the end, he gritted his teeth and said, "No matter how precious your identity is, there is indeed an incident that will affect you and even your family. If you don't handle it well." "Humph, what nonsense." Zhao Ziruo's face was cold. This old man is too reckless. Chapter 2272. The old man was completely unaware. He looked at them carefully and said, "All of you are doing this for the same reason." Then his gaze swept past the few people. When he saw Lin Xian, his heart skipped a beat. He subconsciously took a step back. "You." He pointed at Lin Xian in shock. Lin Xian's face darkened. What does the old man want to say? The old man said, "It's all because of you. Kid, things haven't been going well for you recently. You seem to be being hunted down. Moreover, the danger hasn't been resolved yet. Let me predict that in the future, you will be hunted down by even more powerhouses." Lin Xian did not believe it at first, but when he heard that, he immediately frowned. Because the old man was right. He was indeed being hunted down by Tai Dynasty, and Tai Dynasty was still looking for him. In fact, there was also the War Tribe. It could be said that the future would be very dangerous. However, other than him, only Morong Qingqing knew about it. Other than that, even Zhao Zhirua did not know about it. How did the old man in front of him know about it? Could it be that he was really an expert? Lin Xian was puzzled. At the side, the dark red dragon was also surprised, but he still snorted coldly. He threw away all the bones in his hand. He waved his dragon claws and said, "Old man, tell me, who am I? If you can tell me, I'll believe you." The old man, Su Yixian, looked at the dark red dragon. There seemed to be mysterious runes flickering in his eyes. However, he was soon shocked and a look of fear appeared on his face. In fact, he even broke out in cold sweat. Seeing that, the dark red dragon asked, "Old man, what did you predict?" Su Yixian shook his head. I can't say. Stop pretending. Hurry up and say it. Otherwise I'll roast you." The dark red dragon bared its fangs. Su Yixian said helplessly, "You shouldn't exist in this world." Fuck. What do you mean? How dare you curse me? The dark red dragon was furious. Shouldn't exist? Is my existence a mistake? He was very angry and wanted to attack. However, he was stopped by Lin Xian. The old man wiped his sweat and said, although your existence is a mistake, your existence will soon become reasonable. Acting all mysterious, the dark red divine dragon snorted in disdain. Lin Xian also frowned, because he felt that those words made sense. This was because the dark red divine dragon was a dragon. That was a legendary mythical beast. Other than the dark red divine dragon, he had never seen a second real dragon. At most, they were related to dragons such as flood dragons and tyrannosaurs. However, there had never been a true divine dragon. If that was the case, the dark red divine dragon really shouldn't exist in this world. However, what did he mean by the existence of the future would become reasonable? Could it be that many dragons would appear in the future? Lin Xian still didn't know. However, he felt that the old man seemed to have some skills. So he said, "Old mister, take a look at it." As he spoke, he pointed at the little white monkey. Su Yixian looked at the little white monkey. But after a long time, the reaction was the same as before. She had a look of horror on her face, and then she shook her head. Wooji wooji. Hearing that, little white was also very dissatisfied, and even threw the bone in her hand away. Lin Xian's heart skipped a beat. It seemed that the little white monkey's origin was very extraordinary. He had been suspicious because Little White did indeed have many magical powers. She could make people dizzy, was extremely fast, and even had a treasure bowl. More importantly, she didn't seem to need to cultivate much, and her strength would increase with time. That was really shocking. It could be said that the little white monkey was extremely mysterious, but Lin Xian still didn't know what kind of race it was. He originally thought that the old man would be able to see something, but the old man refused to say anything. Next, Su Yixian looked at Morong Qingcheng and was also very shocked. He didn't say anything else except for one word, Phoenix. Morong Qingcheng was surprised because she was indeed of the Phoenix bloodline, and not many people knew this secret. She didn't expect that the old man would be able to see through it. Could it be that the old man was really an expert? What about me, old mister? Lin Xian asked in the end. He felt that the old man was indeed extraordinary, and perhaps he could see something from him. Su Yixian finally looked at Lin Xian. However, this time, he suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood, and his face became incomparably pale. How was that possible? Su Yixian was extremely frightened, and his body began to tremble. He said in horror, "No, I don't want to. I don't want the money. I want to live for 2 more years." Morong Qingcheng, Zhao Zhirua, and the others were puzzled. What was going on? Why would he vomit blood just because Lin Xian was divined? That was too exaggerated. Old man, your acting is too fake. The dark red dragon curled its lips. Lin Xian also frowned. He asked, "Old mister, what did you see?" I don't know anything. Little brother, I beg you, let me go. I really want to live for 2 more years. Su Yixian turned around and left. However, his voice drifted over. What I said before is true. You've been in danger recently, so you should be careful. After saying that, he turned into a streak of white light and ran away in an instant. What did that old man see? Lin Xian frowned. It seemed that the old man had guessed the identities of the dark red dragon and the little white monkey. However, why did he vomit blood when it came to him? Ignore him, little Xian. He's an old liar. The dark red dragon snorted coldly at the side. Lin Xian also sighed. All right, let's go. He felt that the old man might have some skills, but for some reason, he could not tell them. If that was the case, then it was probably true that they were in danger. Therefore, Lin Xian reminded, we should be careful. Oh right, senior sister Zhirua, after today, we'll leave and won't return to the Zhao family. If anyone dares to cause trouble for the Zhao family in the future, you must cut off all ties between us. Just say that you have nothing to do with me, got it? What's going on? What happened? Zhao Zhirua frowned. She had thought that the old man was just spouting nonsense, but judging from Lin Xian's reaction, he seemed to be hiding something. Lin Xian shook his head and did not say anything. However, he felt that he could not stay in the Zhao family any longer. He decided to walk around for a while more before saying goodbye to Zhao Zhirua. They were almost at the end of the road, so there were fewer people around them. However, at that moment, a cold light suddenly appeared. A terrifying murderous intent surged. A hazy, smoke-like figure suddenly appeared beside Lin Xian. Chapter 2273. Lin Xian's pupils constricted, and the people around him exclaimed. They did not expect such a thing to happen. Clang! At the critical moment, Lin Xian pulled out the ancient dragon abyss sword and blocked in front of him. An earth-shattering sound rang out as the attack collided with the ancient dragon abyss sword, emitting a thunderous sound. The terrifying force pushed him back, but fortunately, the ancient dragon abyss sword was a heaven-grade treasure sword and was extremely hard, so it did not shatter. However, the powerful force caused the blood in Lin Xian's body to churn. Damn it! Who is it? Could it be that the people from the Tai dynasty were here? Lin Xian frowned. The people around him were also shocked, and Zhao Zhirua was even more surprised. Su Yixian said that there was danger. Could it be that they were going to verify it now? She did not dare to imagine. However, she quickly put up a defense, and a realm surrounded her. Morong Qingqing also snorted, and a terrifying light shot out from her body. On the other side, the dark red divine dragon also looked around. Who is it? Come out! The dark red divine dragon roared. Don't let me catch you or I'll roast you. Whoosh! At this moment, another flash appeared beside Lin Xian, and was only 2 meters away from him. This time, Lin Xian finally saw the other party. It was a man in black, and his body was wrapped in a black mist. His face was also hazy, and it was impossible to see clearly. However, a black longsword was piercing toward him with a terrifying murderous aura. Everything was too sudden. Zhao Zhirua, Morong Qingqing, and even Lin Xian did not expect it. The people around him were even more shocked. Someone actually dared to attack Lin Xian? He was courting death. One had to know that Lin Xian had killed hundreds of kings alone. Such terrifying strength made people tremble. Who would dare to attack him? But now, someone actually dared to assassinate Lin Xian. Boom! The terrifying sword light swallowed and spat out rays of light as it slashed towards Lin Xian's head. There was simply no way to dodge it. Because this was a fatal blow. No one could have imagined that a second ago. Everything was fine. And in the next second, such a terrifying killing intent would occur. Brat! The dark red divine dragon roared crazily and struck out with its dragon claws in an attempt to stop them. However, his opponent's speed was simply too fast. Older brother Xian, Morong Qingqing also cried out in alarm. A terrifying radiance surged out from her body, and the Jade Lake's great divine ability was quickly launched. The entire sky was trembling. However, although this divine ability was very powerful, it couldn't save him at all. Buzz Lin Xian's pupils shrank as he felt a biting cold murderous intent stabbing towards him. The sword had yet to arrive, but that terrifying killing intent had already made his entire body turn cold. Get lost! Lin Xian roared when he saw that there was no way to dodge. In the next moment, the great dragon sword spirit erupted. An endless sword light emerged from his body. Between heaven and earth, there was the sound of a dragon's roar as streaks of dragon-shaped sword chi flew out from Lin Xian's body and slashed forward. Boom! The void in front of him instantly exploded, and a terrifying collision sound rang out. A blast of air turned into a mushroom cloud that shot straight into the sky. The sky rumbled, and everything within a radius of 10,000 miles shook. The surrounding buildings collapsed in an instant, and the void split open as the cracks spread in all directions. Everyone's scalps went numb as they frantically retreated. Many people were directly sent flying by the blast of air. Not good. Retreat quickly. The dark red divine dragon swung its tail and tore the void apart as it quickly retreated. Zhao Zhirua and Morong Qingqing were also surrounded by countless rays of light as they floated back like fairies. The terrifying sword light in front of them filled the 9 heavens. The entire place was in chaos, and it was impossible to see clearly. This scene naturally alarmed the entire Stellar Sky City. In an instant, countless powerful auras surged out like smoke signals. Immediately after, figures filled the sky and rose into the air. Who was fighting? Angry roars could be heard, but when they saw the terrifying sword light in front of them, they were all stunned. What a terrifying aura! Could it be that a peerless powerhouse was fighting? These people were extremely shocked, and their eyes were also fixed on the scene in front of them. Finally, the sword chi in front of them slowly disappeared, and the cracks in the sky also quickly recovered. Seeing this scene, everyone's eyes widened even more, because the most critical moment had arrived. They wanted to know what was going on. Was Lin Xian assassinated? In particular, Morong Qingcheng, the dark red divine dragon, and the others were even more nervous. In front of them, a figure appeared. His hair was disheveled, and his face was cold. He stood there like a god of death. Brother Xian. Seeing this figure, Morong Qingcheng immediately exclaimed, "That's right. The figure that appeared was naturally Lin Xian. His hair was disheveled, and his face was extremely pale. The clothes on his body were pierced through. In front of him, there was a pool of blood. It was abnormally crystal clear like blood jade. This was the blood of a powerhouse, and it was naturally different from that of an ordinary person. Damn it, could it be that he was injured?" The dark red divine dragon's face also darkened. Where was this kid injured? They didn't know, and they were very nervous. However, in the next moment, Lin Xian suddenly raised his head. The light in his eyes was like a peerless divine sword that pierced through all directions. At the same time he shouted coldly, "Qingqing, be careful. That guy is injured, but he's not dead yet." What, that guy is injured? Hearing this, everyone in the distance was shocked. They didn't expect that Lin Xian could withstand such a terrifying killing move, and even injure the other party. His strength was heaven-defying? Morong Qingqing and the dark red divine dragon also heaved a sigh of relief. But then, they also became nervous. The other party was still there, and he had disappeared. This wasn't good news for them. That was because their lives could be threatened at any time. They couldn't completely block such a terrifying sword light. Lin Xian's face was even more gloomy, because it was too dangerous just now. If it were anyone else, even a peerless powerhouse, they would probably be killed. Fortunately, he had the great dragon sword soul. At the crucial moment, he resisted the other party and destroyed the other party's killing move. Moreover, he injured the other party. However, the other party's speed was very fast, almost not inferior to him. Therefore, at the crucial moment he dodged the fatal blow. Damn it, who was it? Could it be an expert from the war tribe? Lin Xian's face was gloomy. The threat that the other party gave him wasn't inferior to the Golden Lion King. In fact, it was even more intense. Although the Golden Lion King was domineering, it wasn't a sneak attack. And this person's sneak attack was impossible to guard against. If a peerless powerhouse wasn't careful, they would also die. No, it shouldn't be the war tribe. Lin Xian shook his head. This was obviously the behavior of an assassin. It was completely different from the war tribe's violence that was born for battle. Be careful, they're assassins, Lin Xian reminded, and the dragon sword domain rose from his body. When Morong Qingcheng and Zhao Zhihua saw this scene, they also quickly used their own domains. Buzz! Right at this moment, another shocking ray of light lit up. Chapter 2274. The terrifying killing intent emerged again, and the surrounding people retreated frantically. They had long pulled a safe distance away, but now their scalps were still numb, because the aftermath of this killing intent made their hearts beat wildly. They realized that if it were them, they wouldn't be able to dodge at all. Qingqing, be careful! Lin Xian let out a long roar. He didn't expect that these killers would actually attack Morong Qingcheng. It was really hateful. It was too fast and he couldn't stop it in time, because he had just called out. That sword light was still enveloping Morong Qingcheng. Flying flower. At the moment of crisis, a jade lotus platform appeared under Morong Qingcheng's feet, spinning rapidly, and petals danced in the sky. It was very dreamy. These petals contained endless power, completely enveloping her. Dang! Dang! Sure enough, in the next moment, that sword light collided with the dreamy petals, emitting the sound of metal colliding. The peerless killing intent was like the vast Milky Way, and the murderous aura soared to the sky. However, Morong Qingqing was even more extraordinary. The flying flower divine ability that she used was even more terrifying. This was a divine ability in the Western Emperor scripture. Western Emperor scripture, the Jade Lake Sacred Grounds scripture, was a cultivation technique created by the great emperor, and its power was unfathomable. At this moment, when it was used, it was even more shocking. That shocking murderous aura was indeed unable to penetrate the petals that filled the sky. The surrounding void shattered in an instant and countless cracks appeared. However, Morong Qingqing's side was completely unharmed. Countless petals enveloped her. Seeing this scene, Morong Qingqing heaved a sigh of relief, and then her pair of beautiful eyes exploded with light. Flying flower slash. Since her defense was ready, then it was time for her to counterattack. With a wave of her jade-like hand, the petals that filled the sky formed a sharp light that slashed down from the sky. Endless light flickered, and the void in front of her exploded, forming a terrifying black hole. However, that blurry figure was very fast, and actually dodged in advance. However, the crisis was not over. Because when Morong Qingqing was attacked, Lin Xian was also attacked again. Moreover, it was an even sharper and more terrifying attack. When Lin Xian saw Morong Qingqing being assassinated, he was furious. He let out a long howl, wanting to rescue them. However, in the next moment, all the hair on his body stood on end. He unleashed the demigods and semi-devils to the extreme, and dodged to the side. At the same time, the dragon sword domain quickly slashed out streams of sword chi. Wang, peng. This shocking sword light brushed past his body. But fortunately, the sword chi formed by the dragon sword domain directly knocked away this terrifying sword light. This time, that figure disappeared extremely quickly. When the attack failed, it directly disappeared into the void, turning into strands of green smoke, disappearing without a trace. Damn it! Lin Xian's face darkened when he saw this. The other party actually dared to attack. This made him angry and frightened at the same time. Not just one assassin, but at least two. The dark red divine dragon, and the others also came to their senses and roared angrily. One after another, they unleashed their great abilities to protect themselves. Damn it, who is this person? Zhao Ziruo's face was incomparably ugly, because this method had completely surpassed her imagination. Fortunately, the assassin did not attack her previously. Otherwise, it would have been difficult for her to block it. The dark red divine dragon let out a long howl, and waved its dragon claws. Immediately, a large formation flew out and completely enveloped Tianxing City. Above the sky, countless lights flickered. No one could leave without a sound. As long as those assassins wanted to escape, it would immediately discover them. However, those assassins did not seem to have escaped at all. However, they did not appear either. It was as if they had disappeared. What a terrifying concealment ability. Morong Qingqing's expression was also solemn. She actually could not catch the other party at all. Who is this person? In the distance, those martial artists in Tianxing City were even more terrified. They retreated crazily, not daring to approach at all. What a joke. The two attacks from before were really too shocking. Even those peerless mighty figures in the city felt their scalps go numb. Boom. However, there were a few figures in the sky with solemn expressions. Among them, one was a dignified man wearing battle armor and standing in the void. He was the city lord of Tianxing City. At this moment, his expression was extremely gloomy. The other one was from the Zhao family. He was an old man wearing cotton clothes. His eyes were like divine lamps, illuminating all directions. He was Old Master Zhao, whom Lin Xian had seen before. His expression was also extremely solemn. This was because he realized that he could not catch the traces of these assassins. Not only the two of them, but all the martial artists in Tianxing City were also using their own secret techniques, trying to find the other party's traces. This was because they were afraid that these people would come to their side. However, very soon, a series of exclamations sounded. Damn it, how is this possible? I can't see them at all. I can't even catch a trace of their aura. Could it be that they had disappeared? Or had they already left? They did not dare to imagine. Even those peerless mighty figures had ugly expressions on their faces. Zhao Zhirua snorted coldly. Damn it, I can't find them. Who are they? Lin Xian's expression was cold. His soul power quickly surged out and enveloped the entire Tianxing city. However, he could not find them either. This made his expression extremely solemn. However, in the next moment he snorted coldly. Suddenly, golden runes burst out from his eyes. At the same time, the dragon sword realm completely enveloped him, forming a layer of light. Outsiders could not see clearly at all. Lin Xian's eyes turned golden. He had activated the heavenly secret divine eyes. This was because he realized that the other party was too terrifying. He had no choice but to use this trump card. Golden runes flashed in his eyes. After activating the heavenly secret divine eyes, the whole world was different. As expected, Lin Xian saw two illusory figures flashing quickly near them. Their speed was really shocking. Among them, a figure quietly came behind the dark red divine dragon. The killing sword in his hand was about to stab. Humph! How dare you attack? Lin Xian was furious. He was using the heavenly secret body now, and could still see the other party. Therefore, he did not hold back anymore. He pulled out the ancient sword. A sharp sword light slashed down from the sky. Boom! This sword slashed at the side of the dark red divine dragon. The dark red divine dragon was shocked. He thought that Lin Xian was going to attack him. However, he soon understood. He swung his dragon tail and instantly left the place. Boom! The sword light fell, and the sky was split in half. A figure was sent flying while vomiting blood. This figure was surrounded by a black mist. He looked like a god of death from hell. However, in this sword light, the mist on his body was like a flame that was quickly extinguished. His true body was revealed. It was a man in black. He wore tight black clothes and a ghost mask on his face. Therefore, even without the black mist, no one knew who he was. Damn it, how could it be? Chapter 2275. Damn it, how is that possible? The mysterious masked man was also extremely terrified. He did not expect that the other party could hurt him. Could it be that the other party had discovered his tracks? But how was that possible? He could not believe it. He came from a very ancient and mysterious place, and his movement technique was passed down from ancient times. How was it possible that these people had discovered him? In the next moment, he turned into green smoke and disappeared again. Damn it! How dare you assassinate me? Go to hell. The dark red dragon was furious. If it were not for Lin Xian, he would have been attacked by now. Although he was a dragon and had a strong defense, if he was hit, it would not be a joke. Therefore, in the next moment, he roared crazily and spat out balls of dragon flames that covered the entire sky. However, the mysterious masked man did not appear again. What was going on? He was hit. Could it be that he had discovered him? No one knew that in the sky, two figures were communicating with each other through voice transmission. No one knew, but that kid must have been lucky. He could not have discovered us. The other person shook his head. There was a sword wound on his body, but it had stopped bleeding. Let's attack together and get rid of that kid. The two of them communicated secretly and quickly flew toward Lin Xian. No one around them knew what was going on. Even the dark red dragon and Morong Qingqing did not know what was going on. However, Lin Xian sneered. Under the effect of the heavenly secret god eyes, he could clearly see the two figures. Naturally, he could also see the two blurry black figures charging towards him at high speed. Demon Seal. Lin Xian held the ancient sword in his hand, and a terrifying killing move appeared and slashed in a direction beside him. Boom! As expected, a figure suddenly appeared in the void that was originally empty. He spat out large mouthfuls of blood and was sent flying backward. When Lin Xian saw that he had hit his opponent, he snorted and used the chaotic sky destroyer sword again. The terrifying sword light directly pierced through the entire sky in front of him. At the same time, a lotus flower flew out from his fingertip and flew behind him. It repelled the other masked man. What? He actually repelled it completely. How did he do it? Did he see it? Everyone was shocked. Even the heavenly star city's city lord and old man Zhao had grave expressions on their faces. This was because the two of them did not see each other either. But why was Lin Xian able to see it? They could not understand. At the same time, they were extremely shocked. Because what happened today was truly beyond their expectations. The two terrifying assassins were far beyond their knowledge. Moreover, the strength displayed by Lin Xian shocked them even more. Even now, they didn't know how the other party had locked onto the enemy. The two of them were shocked, but the two ghost-masked assassins were even more shocked. Originally, they thought that the other party was just lucky to have found them the first time. But this time, they were dumbfounded. That was because the other party was able to accurately send them flying. This was definitely not a blind guess. Instead, it was because the other party had really discovered their tracks. But how was that possible? One had to know that the two of them were from an incomparably mysterious assassin organization. Their movement techniques were elusive, and even peerless powerhouses couldn't detect them. How did the other party, a young brat, discover them? They could not figure it out. However, there was no time for them to think, because Lin Xian held the ancient sword and attacked again. Boom! Lin Xian held the ancient dragon abyss sword in his hand and quickly swung it. Buzz! The priceless sword kept enlarging, like a huge mountain, pressing down from the sky. The terrifying chaotic sword light shot straight into the sky. The void instantly collapsed, and the ghost-masked assassin who was injured earlier was enveloped by it. Humph! The ghost-masked assassin roared, and an incomparably bright light erupted from his body. He would use the black sword in his hand to quickly counterattack. Boom! The two collided, and the sound of 10,000 horses neighing was heard. Just the sound wave alone directly tore through the void. Although the ghost-masked assassin was powerful, he had underestimated Lin Xian's strength. This sword was extremely terrifying, and it contained Lin Xian's killing intent and anger. Therefore, in the next moment, the ghost-masked assassin was directly sent flying, vomiting blood. Not only that, his arm was instantly broken. That powerful energy had shaken his internal organs to the point where they were seriously injured. Damn it! The ghost-masked assassin's expression finally changed. In the process of retreating, countless black smoke rose from his body, and then merged into the void again, disappearing. The ghost-masked assassin behind him was also shocked. After seeing Lin Xian's methods, he did not attack, but instead used the same method. He merged into the void and disappeared. They were ready to retreat, because they were assassins, and they were good at killing. If they missed their target, they would immediately flee 1,000 miles away. This was the rule of assassins, and as the top assassins, they naturally understood. More importantly, the young man in front of them was too strange. It was as if he could find their traces, so they had no choice but to temporarily leave. Want to leave? Lin Xian snorted coldly, and the light of zero force burst out from his eyes. Previously, he was almost killed, so how could he let these two people leave? Therefore, in the next moment, he used the heavenly dragon's 8 steps, and his speed was extremely fast. In an instant he charged over. The heavenly secret god eyes burst out, and a biting cold light flickered. Mysterious runes appeared, causing Lin Xian to lock onto the two figures. Boom! The ancient dragon sword was incomparably powerful, and coupled with the sharp sword chi of the great dragon sword soul, it instantly shattered the void. It was as if a peerless divine sword had slashed down. The entire sky was cut in half, and countless spatial cracks spread out in all directions. Damn it! How could he be so powerful? The pupils of the two ghost-masked assassins shrank, and when they felt the sword chi descending from the sky, their faces became incomparably ugly. Because just this attack alone was already not weaker than a peerless almighty. It seemed that this target was indeed as powerful as the rumors said. Originally, they thought that with the strength of the two of them and their assassination techniques, they would be able to easily eliminate the other party. Now, it seemed that they had been careless and underestimated the other party. However, the two of them were not to be trifled with. With a roar, the two ghost-masked assassins burst out with unparalleled power, and then the two of them exploded with speed. Boom! In an instant, they dodged the terrifying sword light by a hair's breadth. However, very soon they screamed again, because after the sword light, the dense and terrifying sword chi in the sky descended from the sky. It was as if a huge dragon was dancing in the sky, sky-shattering. After a few more ultimate moves, the entire sky exploded. The two ghost-masked assassins could no longer resist. They were sent flying while vomiting blood. Speak, who are you? Chapter 2276. Looking at this scene, the surrounding people were all stunned. Even old Master Zhao, the city lord, and the peerless mighty figures felt their hearts skip a beat. That was because they did not find any traces of the two masked men at all. However, Lin Xian was able to capture their figures the entire time. That was too unbelievable. Moreover, the combat strength that Lin Xian displayed made their hearts skip a beat. That kid's combat strength was comparable to that of a peerless mighty figure. The two masked men in front took out pills and quickly swallowed them to repair their injured bodies. At the same time, their faces were gloomy as they circulated their inner force. Buzz! They waved their long swords and released a terrifying sword light. It flickered with a cold light and slashed directly at Lin Xian. At the same time, the other person spat out a black bead. The black bead continued to expand, and 18 skulls rushed out of it. Each of them was extremely ferocious as they charged at Lin Xian. Boom! Boom! However, it was useless. Under Lin Xian's longsword, everything turned into ashes. The two masked men vomited blood and were sent flying again. Their faces were filled with shock. That was because the other party was too powerful. Lin Xian held the ancient sword and said coldly, "Since you don't want to tell me, don't blame me for searching your souls." As he said that, he used the demigods and semi-devils and charged at them at his maximum speed. Boom! The great dragon sword soul roared, and a terrifying sword light shot into the sky. At that moment, Lin Xian was like a peerless sword god that everyone looked up to. Chaotic Heaven Destroyer Sword. Monstrous sword chi slashed down, and each of them was like a huge mountain. They carried an extremely sharp force and crushed the void. He released 36 sword chi in a row, and each sword chi was like a giant dragon that covered the entire sky. The two devil-masked men were forced to retreat again and again, vomiting mouthfuls of blood. Countless sword wounds appeared on their bodies. One of them even had his arm cut off, almost splitting him in half. Damn it! Run! The two masked men's scalps went numb, and they did not dare to stay any longer. They turned into two streams of light and disappeared into the void. They quickly escaped. Humph! Dark Red Shinong snorted coldly and waved his dragon claws. Trying to escape? How could this be? He quickly activated the formation. The terrifying array shone brightly, cutting off all paths of retreat for the enemy. Puff! Another sword slashed down, and the devil-masked man with the broken arm was directly cut into two. The lower half of his body exploded, turning into a bloody mist. The upper half of his body roared ferociously. That pain almost made him faint. However, at this moment, Lin Xian's large hand reached out and enveloped him. Boom! Countless sword chi intertwined. First, it destroyed the opponent's spirit sea. Then it turned into countless runes that sealed the opponent. Lin Xian tossed him to the dark red divine dragon. Watch him well. I'll search his soul later. As he spoke, his footsteps flashed as he charged towards another masked man. Damn it! The other masked man was so scared that his scalp went numb. His companion had already been subdued by the other party. He didn't dare to resist such means. Therefore, in the next moment, he opened his mouth again and spat out a large black flag. The large flag trembled in the wind and turned into a 10,000-foot-tall mountain peak. Countless ghost chi filled the air. Countless ghost faces were roaring inside. For a moment, the entire space seemed to have turned into hell. Obviously, that was a powerful bejeweled artifact. Explode! A cold voice sounded, and the powerful bejeweled artifact directly exploded. Terrifying energy filled heaven and earth, and the defensive formation was instantly torn apart. Countless black holes appeared in the sky. When the devil-masked man saw that, he smiled sinisterly and disappeared. In the next moment, the devil-masked man escaped from the broken black hole. Damn it! That guy was trying to escape. The dark red divine dragon's expression changed. He didn't expect the other party to be so decisive as to self-destruct a top-grade treasure chi to destroy his formation. If the other party escaped, it would be impossible to catch him again. In fact, he had already lost track of the other party. However, Lin Xian sneered. His eyes flickered, and a sharp light burst out from them. Then, he put away the ancient dragon abyss sword and held it in his left hand. A dragon-shaped longbow appeared. The ferocious dragon head roared, and its entire body emitted a blazing light. Endless energy gathered in his right hand and formed an arrow. Golden runes erupted from his eyes and locked onto the devil-masked man. In the next moment, Lin Xian pulled the longbow into a full moon. An arrow flew out. Boom. Wherever it passed, space shattered. The arrow was extremely fast. The devil-masked man felt the aura behind him and was scared out of his wits. He used a secret technique and burned the blood in his body to escape. However, it was useless. The arrow pierced through his heart. Puff! The devil-masked man was nailed in the void. His body trembled and blood flowed out. It splattered on the ground, creating countless deep pits. That was the blood of a king. It was extremely terrifying. Impossible, the devil-masked man said with difficulty. He didn't expect the other party to be able to lock onto him and pierce through him. However, in the next moment, a hint of madness appeared in his eyes. Ha ha ha, kid, you're dead meat. You can't escape. The sound made one's scalp tingle. At this moment, the devil-masked man's body suddenly expanded. A violent force instantly exploded and swept across a radius of 10,000 miles. Not good. Seeing this scene, Lin Xian frowned. The expressions of the cultivators in Stellar Sky City changed. Such a violent force was enough to destroy Stellar Sky City. Furthermore, it was likely that all of them would be affected. It was very likely that they would be killed. Boom. Boom. However, Stellar Sky City was not to be trifled with. 108 stars suddenly lit up and circled in the sky, forming a powerful light screen. It completely enveloped Stellar Sky City. This was the defensive formation of Stellar Sky City, and it was extremely powerful. Therefore, although the devil-masked man's self-destruction brought about a large amount of energy, it was all blocked by Stellar Sky City's formation. Everyone heaved a sigh of relief, feeling as if they had survived a disaster. However, Lin Xian and the others' expressions were extremely solemn, because the other party would rather self-destruct than leave behind any clues. One had to admit that this group of people was too terrifying. Fortunately, they still caught a devil-masked man. At this moment, he was already sealed. As long as they searched his soul, they should be able to find some clues. Whoosh! Whoosh! Two figures flashed out. They were the Stellar Sky City's city lord and the old man of the Zhao family. Behind them, a few peerless almighties were also rushing over. It seemed like they were also very curious about the devil-masked man's identity. The golden light in Lin Xian's eyes disappeared. At the same time, the sword qi in his body flowed into his body, and he returned to his true form. Ruffian dragon, search his soul, Lin Xian said in a deep voice. Hearing this, the dark red dragon waved its claws and grabbed the devil-masked man's head, beginning to search his soul. The others waited patiently. The devil-masked man was sealed and couldn't resist at all. Chapter 2277. The masked man was sealed and couldn't resist at all. But at this moment a strange scene happened. The masked man's body started burning on its own. Not only his body, but even his soul was burning, emitting a terrifying black flame that swept around. It pounced on Lin Xian, the dark red dragon, and everyone around. Damn it! How could this be? The dark red dragon frowned. Why did the masked man burn on his own? They had already sealed him. It shouldn't be like this. The masked man could still use his power? He couldn't understand. But in the next moment, he waved his dragon claws and extinguished all the black flames. The people around him also used their own methods. Lin Xian even raised his hand and shot out a layer of frost, completely freezing everything. But soon, his face became extremely ugly, because the masked man in front of him had already burned into wisps of black flames and disappeared. Not only him, but the Sky Star City Lord and Old Man Zhao also looked serious. They originally wanted to investigate the masked man's identity, But now it seemed that the masked man was even more mysterious than they thought. This method seemed to be a restriction planted in their bodies by a peerless master. Once they encountered a method like soul capture, the restriction in their bodies would be activated and burn. The Sky Star City Lord said in a low voice, "It seems that the power they belong to must be very mysterious. And they did a very good job of keeping it a secret. I don't think any secrets will be leaked." Not only that, the masked man's movement technique is even more strange. I can't even catch him. It's unbelievable. Old Man Zhao also said coldly. The other peerless masters also nodded silently. Indeed, they had investigated before, but they couldn't find any trace of the masked man at all. The masked man had a destructive restriction in his body, strange movement technique, and powerful assassination skills. These should be terrifying assassins. Which assassin organization did they belong to? Snow Wolf? Sky Devouring? Judgment? These peerless masters named several top assassin organizations, which were very famous in the Ninely dynasty. But soon they shook their heads. These organizations definitely couldn't find such terrifying assassins. Perhaps the assassins of those organizations were more powerful than the two masked men, but their assassination skills and terrifying movement technique were incomparable. After all, a movement technique that even a peerless almighty couldn't sense must be incomparably heaven-defying. The top assassin organizations in the country probably couldn't do it. What kind of organization was that? Could it be an assassin organization from another country? These people began to recall what kind of horrible killer organizations there were in the central continent. However, the dark red divine dragon frowned. With a wave of his dragon claw, countless rays of light gathered in front of him, forming a pattern of a ghost face. It was the mask worn by the devil-masked man. Seeing this scene, everyone raised their heads, extremely puzzled. Lin Xian also asked, "Ruffian Long, what did you find?" "This mask is very special. If my guess is correct, they should be people from hell." Hell? Hearing this, Zhao Zhirua and Morong Qingqing both frowned, feeling very confused. However, the eyelids of the Heavenly Star City's City Lord and Old Man Zhao were twitching wildly. The other almighties thought for a while, and suddenly came to a realization. Their faces turned pale instantly. No way could it really be that hell. Their faces were filled with shock. "Grandpa, what was hell?" Zhao Zhirua was very curious. She and Morong Qingqing were both from the younger generation, so they had never heard of this hell. Lin Xian also frowned. Hell? What a strange name. However, looking at the expressions of the dark red divine dragon and Old Man Zhao, he knew that this name was definitely not simple. These people were all peerless almighties. Just their names alone could make peerless almighties change their expressions. From this, one could imagine how terrifying the infernal realm was. On this true spirit continent, there were 3 extremely terrifying killer organizations that had been around for a long time. It was said that they had been passed down since ancient times. Hell was one of them. These people seemed to have really come from the 9 nether underworld, and they specialized in taking lives. No one who had been targeted by them could escape, whether it was ordinary people or high and mighty kings. It was even rumored that they had successfully assassinated saints. What? Hearing this, Lin Xian, Morong Qingqing, and Zhao Zhirua gasped in shock. Even saints couldn't escape from their evil clutches? They were simply too shocked. It should be known that the most powerful people in the world, right now, were the invincible kings. They were all monarchs of a country, the true peerless experts. Although saints were rarely seen, any one of them could wipe out an entire region. They were existences that completely surpassed the invincible kings. Especially Lin Xian, he knew how terrifying saints were. Because he had a saint's hand bone in his hand. It was just a small piece of bone, but it possessed unparalleled power. One could imagine how terrifying a complete saint was. Such a terrifying existence could actually be assassinated by hell's killers. And they even succeeded. Just how terrifying was the infernal realm? They didn't dare to imagine. However, at this moment Zhao Zhirua frowned. It shouldn't be. If hell was so terrifying, it would definitely be known by the world like the 9 great dynasties and the Eastern Barren sacred ground. But why have we never heard of it? It's very simple. Because they've already gone into hiding. Old Man Zhao continued. 30,000 years ago, Hell's organization went crazy because they received a mission from someone. They actually assassinated 3 Saint Lords of the Great Sage Land in a row, which completely infuriated the Eastern Barren sacred ground. Suddenly, all the sacred grounds of the Eastern Barren continent joined forces to fight against Hell's organization. No matter how powerful Hell was, it couldn't resist the joint attack of so many sacred grounds. As a result, Hell was dealt a heavy blow in an instant. However, Hell's organization was very mysterious. No one knew where their base was. Therefore, although they were heavily damaged, they weren't destroyed. For tens of thousands of years they had been hiding. They didn't appear in the world. Who would have thought that it would appear again this time? What? They assassinated 3 Saint Lords. Why did all the powerful people in the Eastern Barren continent join forces? Lin Xian and the others' eyelids twitched. The people of Hell were really crazy. Saint Lords were as famous as the monarchs of the 9 great dynasties of the Middle State. They were definitely supreme overlords. Even so, they were still assassinated. And 3 of them. One could imagine what kind of storm it caused in the Eastern Barren continent at that time. However, what was even more shocking was that the entire Eastern Barren continent couldn't destroy Hell. They could only suppress it. Just how terrifying was this Hell? They really didn't dare to imagine. Chapter 2278. That was because Old Master Zhao had said that there were 3 major assassin organizations in the world, and Earth Prison was only one of them. The other 2 should be as powerful as Earth Prison. However, they had never heard of them before. Heavenly Court and the Human World. Heavenly Court, Earth Prison, and the Human World. The 3 top assassin dynasties were supreme existences that had been passed down since ancient times. The dark red dragon said in a deep voice. Something like what had happened 30,000 years ago had happened more than once. Previously, the human world had assassinated the emperors of the 9 dynasties and succeeded. At that time, 4 emperors of the 9 dynasties were killed, which caused great anger. In the end, the human world suffered the same fate as Earth Prison. From then on, it kept a low profile and did not appear for tens of thousands of years. How could such a thing happen? Everyone was shocked. The eyes of the city lord of Sky Star City, Old Master Zhao, and the others flickered. They had also heard of this legend, but then they frowned. As for the Heavenly Court, it's even more mysterious. We don't know what it's like now. There isn't even a legend about it. Nothing is left behind? Lin Xian frowned and asked again. Ruffian dragon, do you know? The dark red dragon took a deep breath. I've heard of a legend. The Heavenly Court has been destroyed and no longer exists. What? It's destroyed? How is that possible? Everyone was shocked. Old Master Zhao, the city lord of Sky Star City, and the others were in disbelief. The Heavenly Court was the most powerful assassin dynasty. It was rumored that it was even more terrifying than the human world and Earth Prison. How could it be destroyed? That's right. Even Earth Prison and the human world survived such a terrifying attack. How could the Heavenly Court be destroyed? It couldn't be helped because the Heavenly Court was even crazier. They actually attacked the clan of the Ancients. It was said that the Heavenly Court was very crazy and ambitious back then. They seemed to be carrying out a huge plan. Therefore, they attacked the clan of the Ancients. Moreover, they successfully assassinated the peerless prodigy of the clan of the Ancients. Even the prodigy of the war race was assassinated back then. In the end, some of the clan of the Ancients were angry. They joined forces and activated 3 extreme weapons to destroy the Heavenly Court. What? How could such a thing happen? When Old Master Zhao and the others heard this, they all sucked in a cold breath. Heavenly Court's legacy, and the Heavenly Court had been destroyed. Morong Qingqing was even more shocked. Extreme weapons. Those were weapons left behind the Great Emperor. One was already heaven-defying. There was probably no one who could contend against 3 of them. A great emperor was an existence that stood at the pinnacle of martial arts. His weapon was known as an extreme weapon, and its power was unimaginable. The power of an extreme-grade weapon was unimaginably terrifying. Of course, without a great emperor, the extreme-grade weapon would not be able to unleash its full power. Even so, if a peerless powerhouse used it, it would still be able to unleash a shocking attack. The Jade Lake Sacred Ground had an extreme weapon, the West Imperial Tower. It was a weapon left behind by the Queen Mother of the West. It could be said that with the West Imperial Pagoda, no one would dare to attack the Jade Pool. After hearing this, everyone was extremely shocked. Who would have thought that there was such an ancient secret? Among them, Old Man Zhao, the Stellar Sky City's city lord, and the others were even more astonished. How did the other party know a secret that they didn't know? Could it be that the other party's background was even more terrifying? Thinking of this, they all sucked in a cold breath. Kid, hell hasn't appeared for a long time. They must be up to something big this time. Moreover, after this failure, they would definitely send even more terrifying assassins. Because they wouldn't ruin their own reputation. You really have to be careful in the future. The dark red divine dragon reminded. Lin Xian's face was extremely gloomy, being targeted by such a terrifying organization. One could imagine that the future would be much more dangerous. Thinking of this, his face was gloomy. Damn it, who was it that dared to send such a person to kill him? Needless to say, it must be those people from the Tai dynasty and the war tribe. Otherwise, ordinary families wouldn't be able to afford such terrifying assassins. Tai dynasty, don't let me meet you, or you'll be dead. Lin Xian gritted his teeth. He felt that he couldn't stay in Stellar Sky City any longer. He had to leave quickly and go to Qianshan City to see if there was any news about the nest of 10,000 dragons. If there wasn't, he would immediately leave this place. In short, he couldn't be pursued by the people from the Tai dynasty anymore. I'll help you find out who leaked the news. Morong Qingqing also said coldly. As the saintess of the Jade Lake Sacred Ground, she had a lot of power. However, in order to keep a low profile, she was generally unwilling to show this kind of strength. But now someone dared to threaten Lin Xian's life. She couldn't care less. Senior sister, help me contact the people from the Jade Lake here. Okay. Zhao Zhurua nodded, and quickly went to contact the people. There was nothing she could do about it. Although she was the senior sister, Morong Qingqing was way more powerful than her. Because the saintess of the Jade Lake was the future master of the Jade Lake Sacred Ground. Such a status was extremely noble. After about the time it took for an incense stick to burn, 4 figures appeared in the sky. They were 4 beautiful women. As soon as they appeared, they shouted respectfully, Saintess, go and find out who is in contact with the Tai dynasty. At the same time, pay attention to the people from the Kai dynasty. See what they've been doing recently. Also, find out the whereabouts of the Hell Assassin. Morong Qingqing said in a deep voice, then waved her hand. Buzz. The 4 beauties in front of her hurriedly turned into 4 streams of light and disappeared into the sky. They had to admit that the Jade Lake Sacred Ground was very powerful and terrifying. This was not the Eastern Wilderness and was not their territory. But soon, they found out about this matter. Reporting to the Saintess, the matter has been investigated. The people from the Tai dynasty found traces of young Master Lin, and this secret was leaked by the Qiyu clan. Qiyu clan? Hearing this, Lin Xian frowned. Morong Qingqing also asked in a deep voice. Then is there any other news about the hell? No. The beauties shook their heads. The hell is too mysterious. We can't get any information at all. All I know is that they were hired by the Tai dynasty for this mission. Okay, I got it. You can leave. Morong Qingqing nodded. The beauties turned and left. Brother Xian, what should we do? Morong Qingqing asked. Lin Xian snorted coldly. The Qiyu clan was truly courting death. If we weren't strong enough, we would have been killed. Damn it. I won't let them go. Are you going to attack the Qiyu clan? Morong Qingqing asked. I'll help you. No need. Lin Xian shook his head. You have a special identity. It's not suitable for you to take action at this time. After all, the Qiyu clan could contact the Tai dynasty. There must be other forces behind them. It's not suitable for the Jade Lake to get involved. But I don't have so many scruples. Chapter 2279. At this point, Lin Xian's eyes flashed with cold killing intent. A terrifying aura shot up into the sky. Old Man Zhao, the mayor, and the other almighties felt their eyelids twitch when they sensed the aura. The young man's aura was too terrifying. It seemed that the Red Moon clan was in trouble. Qingqing, stay with the Zhao family for a while. I'll make a trip to the Red Moon clan. Well, leave once we're done. All right. Morong Qingqing nodded. She was not too worried. With Lin Xian's means, even if he encountered an almighty, he could easily escape. Ruffian dragon, let's go. Lin Xian waved his hand and turned into a ray of sword light that shot up into the sky. The dark red divine dragon also waved its tail. The two of them shot up into the sky and disappeared. On the other side, Morong Qingqing stayed with the Zhao family for the time being. Red Moon Clan. The clan leader, Red Moon Soul, was leisurely swirling his wine glass. He narrowed his eyes as he looked at the dancing beauties in front of him. Based on the time, the people from the Tai dynasty should have made their move by now. He reckoned that the brat was very likely to be killed. What an arrogant kid. How dare he go against my Red Moon clan? I can kill him with a flick of my finger. Red Moon Soul was very happy. This time, his clan did not have to do anything. They could get rid of a strong enemy. For them, this was the best outcome. Other than Red Moon Soul, the other clan elders and young talents were all present at the banquet. That was because they wanted to celebrate. Today was the day they got their revenge. At this moment, when they heard Red Moon Soul's words, the other clan elders laughed. No matter how strong that kid was, he could not fight against the Tai dynasty. It was said that the Tai dynasty had sent out countless experts this time. It would be easy for them to kill that kid. They did not expect that kid to be so crazy. He dared to go against the Tai dynasty. Crazy? He's just an idiot. Many people sneered. That Scarlet Moon Co also came. At this moment, he was lying on a chair. Although his injuries had not recovered, his eyes carried a terrifying light. He was very excited because today, the kid who injured him was finally going to be killed. How could he not be excited? Although he didn't personally deal with it, the fact that the other party was killed by the Tai dynasty could be considered as his revenge. The group of people drank and chatted happily. They were all very excited. There were even a few elders who decided to go to the Tai dynasty to see how the kid was killed. Boom! Suddenly, a terrifying sword chi descended from the sky and covered the entire Red Moon mansion. Damn it! What happened? Sensing this change, everyone's expression changed. One by one, they stood up and looked at the sky. The dark clouds in the sky were suddenly torn apart. A terrifying crack appeared, extending for thousands of miles. Then a divine sword fell from the sky. In the sky, the gigantic sky-piercing divine sword descended like a blue sky. That aura was extremely sharp, causing all the warriors of the Red Moon clan below to raise their heads. Their faces were pale, and their bodies were trembling. Boom! An earth-shattering sound was heard. Endless sword chi rushed into the sky. A large number of buildings fell, the ground cracked, and the surrounding palaces turned into ashes in an instant. Screams were heard and blood spurted out. Countless people fled. However, they were soon pierced by the sword chi. In an instant, the entire Red Moon clan was split in half. Half of them turned into ashes in an instant. An endless pit appeared on the ground, as if it was the 9 nether hell. It was so deep that one couldn't see the bottom. A gigantic sword was inserted into the ground. It emitted a monstrous aura that could destroy the 9 heavens. Damn it! The elders and young geniuses of the Red Moon clan, who were watching the performance at the banquet, all stood up and roared crazily. The Red Moon Soul let out a long roar, and his body emitted a terrifying divine light. Who dares to attack the Red Moon clan? He was angry. He was really angry, because he never thought that someone would dare to attack the Red Moon clan. Moreover, the method was so sharp. When the sky-piercing divine sword descended, they didn't even have time to react. Moreover, the sky-piercing divine sword was too terrifying. In an instant, it shattered their clan's defensive array and sunk half of their mansion. Countless Red Moon clan martial artists were killed. Blood gathered into a river and surged in the air. Damn it! Kill! Kill them all! The Red Moon Soul roared. The surviving elders and martial artists all rose into the air. They were murderous, and their eyes were bloodshot. They were like demons. Damn it, who is it? Get out here. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to tear you into pieces. Angry roars could be heard. These elders and martial artists were murderous, and their bodies glowed brightly. Terrifying attacks rushed in all directions. Among them, there were even more people who attacked the sky-piercing divine sword in front of them. Since they couldn't find the person, they had to destroy the sword first. At this moment, their eyes were bloodshot as they attacked crazily. Boom! Boom! Dozens of elders and hundreds of young geniuses attacked in a frenzy. Divine abilities appeared one after another, and the violent energy could destroy everything. Boom! 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 The energy that filled the sky collided with the sky-piercing divine sword in front of them, and it produced a rumbling sound. Soon, their faces became extremely ugly, because such violent attacks did not cause any damage to the sky-piercing divine sword. In fact, there was not even a trace of a crack. Instead, their actions angered the sky-piercing divine sword even more. Buzz! Light surrounded it, and endless sword runes flickered. Terrifying sword chi rushed into the sky. There was even a loud dragon roar. Boom! 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 Ah! 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 Screams could be heard. Many martial artists were penetrated by the sword chi again. Some were directly split in half. Damn it! Who is it? Who is it? Everyone went crazy. The young martial artists did not stop retreating. The elders' faces were also extremely pale. The Red Moon Soul's eyes were bloodshot as he stared ahead. Set up the array. At the same time, gather all the survivors. Attack with all your might. He roared, and 18 silver flags appeared behind him. On each flag light bloomed, and runes rotated, emitting a terrifying aura. With a wave of his hand, the 18 flags expanded in the wind and turned into towering mountains. They stood on the ground and completely surrounded the sky-piercing divine sword in front of them. This was one of the Red Moon Soul's Dharma treasures. It was extremely terrifying. At this moment, seeing that the other party was extremely powerful, he finally took the initiative to attack. A red armor appeared on his body, and a bright light shot into the sky. Not only that, a red scimitar appeared in his hand. It was like a red moon, and emitted a terrifying aura. The remaining dozen or so elders, and the remaining few hundred young elites, also quickly formed a formation.